Okay. This would be a remarkably insensitive way to start the show. Yeah. Complete collision. Okay. Take it outside. Oh, yeah. Wait. Stupid. Oh, we don't have Stephen Wagas back today. Oh. Yeah. My bad. That's on me. It's still LABI, but Lauren Gleason. Director of Education, Workforce Development, LABI is Director of Education, Workforce Development, and Healthcare. All good. Do I? Lauren Gleason. Gleason. .606 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake producing. We call it Mornings with Brian Haldane, and we are off and running on this Monday morning. Give me Ukraine to cover, and give me the over while you're at it. Wow, what a remarkable turn of events over the weekend between Russia and Ukraine. These talks are underway now. Talks between Russian and Ukrainian delegations are underway. Russian President Putin ordered his country's deterrence forces, including nuclear arms, be placed on high alert. The folks of Ukraine, they ain't going out like that. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Got a couple of requests in to see if we can't get somebody on to talk about that throughout the show this morning. If not this morning, we've got a ton as the week wears on. Got a busy show for you. Richard Condon's going to be by 6:35. We welcome Condon in every Monday to kickstart the week. No idea what he's talking about before he gets in here, which is kind of the fun. Introducing a new segment today, Moral Dilemma Monday. Stepping away from the headlines for a question that we'll pose to the YouTube audience, and I encourage everyone to sound off as well. We will open that one up at 6:52. In our 8 o'clock hour, it is still Heart Month. Wow, it's the last day of Heart Month, actually, as February is Heart Month. Open heart surgery is what we're talking about with Dr. Terry Stelly from Our Lady of the Lake in our Medical Monday segment. 7:35 this morning, we will talk with the folks from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Today, Lauren Gleason, who heads up workforce development, education, and healthcare with LABI. Going to hop on board. We've got a few different things to talk with Lauren about. Going to cover mostly education priorities in the upcoming legislative session. In the 8 o'clock hour, I believe we have Dr. Cade Brumley scheduled. We visit with Dr. Brumley the first Tuesday of every month. However, the first Tuesday of this month is Mardi Gras. So, bump that up to today. And I believe he is scheduled for 8:15. And then 8:35 this morning, we're going to hear from Avi Loeb. It's an interview I did late last week. Avi Loeb is an astronomer at Harvard, and it's a very entertaining interview. But we ran into, well, quite honestly, more compelling content on Friday when Metro Councilman Aaron Moak was in studio to talk about the Metro Council failing to approve an increase to the BRPD legal budget. So we'll play that back for you at 8:35 this morning. Plus top stories and trending, plus the outside in. Jake will have this day in history and the whole bit as the show wears on today. So, how much parading did you do over the weekend? Did you do Spanish Town on Saturday? I heard reports that it was an absolutely fantastic Spanish Town parade Saturday. I took the family down to New Orleans yesterday. We had just an unbelievably great time. Was not ready for what we experienced yesterday. We go to Toth every year, right? Crew of Toth, Sundays. Starts off your Mardi Gras Sunday in New Orleans. And every year we have a fantastic time, but we post up on Magazine Street. Well, due to the route changes, because of the shortage of police officers in New Orleans, Magazine wasn't part of the plan. And they did a lot of squeezing down of routes and piling on of parades. So we were on St. Charles for Okeanos, Mid-City, and Toth. Bam, 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 all back to back to back. We did not stick around for Bacchus. But my word, what a great time. Like I said, not ready for that marathon of a show. But so far, so good, Mardi Gras-wise. It's been absolutely wonderful. And we'll be back at it tomorrow as well, but more on that as the show draws to a close later on today. So, back to this top story. Ukraine has asked to, quote, urgently join the European Union. Ukraine has demanded Russian troops withdraw from the country. Kyiv's intelligence suggests Belarus is prepared to join the Russian invasion, according to a Ukrainian official. Russian forces are facing self-resistance with slowing momentum in northern Ukraine, while invading troops are having a, quote, little bit more success in the south. The talks are already underway, although I wouldn't be surprised if the talks just fall apart. As I understand it, this is an all-or-nothing thing as Vladimir Putin's concerned. Are you surprised that they're putting up the fight that they are? Or they're showing the results that they are with the fight that they're putting up? I think everybody who is just a spectator in this, I mean, clearly we don't have any inside intel, right? We all think we know what we know, but it's all being reported by news outlets. They're doing a heck of a lot better than anybody would have given them credit for this time 2 weeks ago, right? Russia's going to march right through. They're going to take the capital, and that'll be that. Not so much. Hasn't really played out that way. All right. Going to leave most of the Russia-Ukraine stuff up to CBS. So you'll get a ton of that at the bottom of the hour and the CBS World News Roundup for sure. In the meanwhile, we're due up for a break. We're talking sports in our next segment. LSU men's basketball, wow. Playing an inferior team really does make it look like you've fixed every problem under the sun. Not upset about it at all. Not trying to rain on their parade. But they look good on Saturday. LSU women, even better. Baseball, phenomenal. We'll talk about all of it next. Before we take that break, though, I want to remind you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. The Plank Road location for Complete Collision Center, 19511 Plank Road in Zachary. Perkins Road, 9848 Perkins Road. It's just east of Bluebonnet. Both locations, completely full-service locations. The Plank Road location, a little bit bigger for Complete Collision Center, but there's nothing you can't get done at either location of Complete Collision Center, because at both of them, you are going to find the same top-quality, top-trained staffs, certified by most major car manufacturers. iCar Gold Class certified. You know, your car might look the same when it's repaired after an accident, but it's not the same. It might not be as safe to drive. How do you know? Well, Complete Collision Center, Gold Class certification from iCar. That means they've been trained on how to see hidden damage, how to find hidden damage. They know what can be repaired, and what needs to be replaced, and they know just how important that difference is. Want to learn more? CompleteCollision.com, CompleteCollision.com. Their phone number, 768-9898. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Check out CompleteCollision.com. Oh, man. It is going to be struggle bus today. Morning, Eric. Normally I'd be telling my wife good morning right now, but she's got the day off, so she better be sleeping. You better be sleeping. Because if you're up and I'm up, then you come in and do the show and I'll go to sleep. Hey now. Can you, oh shoot, I forgot to include this. LRN 18, 19, and 20 here. Yep. Oh, snap! Oh, dadgummit. So tired. Yes. Nookie says on Twitter, Russia could never handle the grind of an SEC schedule. That sounds like something 3-year Letterman would post. Oh. All right. Wait, Mooyah, you said? Okay. Excuse, sorry about that. Wow, that was rude. .617, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Ton of ground to cover in sports. We're going to start with men's basketball, who just took it to Missouri on Saturday. Started off the second half on a 15-0 run. Went on to beat Missouri 75-55. Tigers were led by Tari Easton with 18 points in just 19 minutes. They held Mizzou to 35% shooting from the floor. Here's Coach Will Wade.
Good win. One we obviously needed. I thought our defense was better. Start to the second half was much better than we've been. I thought our defensive intensity, we sustained it for longer periods than we have been. We need to win our home games, and we won that one, and it was a big win for us.
This was win number 20 on the season for Will Wade and the Tigers.
We got to keep it moving forward. I don't think anybody's going to be satisfied if we just win 20 this year. So we need to keep moving forward. But certainly, if you'd have told me at the beginning of the year we'd be here, now how we got here, everything got a little out of whack, but if you told me at the beginning of the year this is where we'd be, I'd have certainly taken it.
8-8 in conference play in a 4-way tie for the 6th seed in the SEC tournament. LSU will close out the regular season. They'll be at 18th-ranked Arkansas on Wednesday, then a home game Saturday versus 24th-ranked Alabama. Wade is hoping his team can get hot again as the calendar flips over to March.
We had such good rhythm and chemistry for the first month and a half of the year. And we need something to like reignite us. You know what I'm saying? Like we need something to like reignite. We've just kind of been stuck in neutral. We need something to reignite us and put us back into high gear. And hopefully, hopefully we'll have that. Hopefully tonight's a start of that, getting our identity back. And then we need something kind of to pop us.
Well, they're going to have two hot opponents in order to do that. Arkansas just topped Kentucky on Saturday, so they're riding high. Possibility for a letdown game, but Bud Walton Arena is always ripping, so I'm not really too positive about Wednesday. But leaving the regular season on a positive note, hosting Alabama, that might be what Coach Wade is looking for. On the women's side, no basketball till Friday, which is a good thing. The SEC Women's Basketball Tournament, March 2nd through 6th in Nashville, Tennessee. The ladies have a double bye. So not only are they not playing until Friday, we won't know until Thursday as to who they're playing. By the way, they will play the winner of Mississippi State and Kentucky. LSU, the 2 seed overall. So Mississippi State, the 10 seed, taking on the 7 seed Kentucky on Thursday at 6 p.m. Winner gets LSU. Quick break for the Fox Business Report. Interesting. Fudge. I had this left knee thing. I'm going to have to go back to the doctor for it. I'm just going to have to pony up and pay for a damn MRI. It sucks so bad. I hate it. It's like not enough to completely knock me out, but it's like every time I have the slightest movement that's even a little bit awkward. Yeah. Oh, I didn't give you a title for today's show, did I? Is there any... What? Oh. Actually, you know what? Give as the title. Let's just put. There's nothing really happening though. Introducing Moral Dilemma Monday. Yeah. Okay. Simultaneously. Nookie says on Twitter, I feel sorry for the people that either don't follow at 3-year Letterman or worse, don't get the bit. Yeah, totally, but we need them. We need the ones who don't get the bit. By the way, if you're not following 3-year Letterman on Twitter, you need to. This goes back to me saying, give me Ukraine to cover. And Nookie had responded with, they couldn't handle the grind of an SEC schedule. to keep us amused. All right. LRN 789 in here, and then I'll knock out the Muyas. .624, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Lundy Show, rolling right along. Richard Condon should be by in about 10 minutes, 12 minutes from right now, as we will get the latest from CBS News at the bottom of the hour, checking in on Russia and Ukraine as talks are underway. Whatever. I don't know what there's to talk about. Like, if you're Ukraine, what are you talking about here? You didn't do anything. If you're Ukraine, what could there possibly be? Just say, hey, please stop. If you're Russia, what are you talking about here? We're here to take you over. Okay. Come on. We're handing out guns at City Hall or wherever. We got people lined up to shoot you down. And we're not doing too badly. I don't know what talks are going to be had. Getting the getting the nuclear forces ready too. That seems interesting. You don't really nuke your own backyard, but it's Putin. Who knows? We'll get the latest on that from them shortly, from CBS shortly. In the meanwhile, though, we were wrapping up our sports segment. LSU on Friday posted up a 6-0 win over Towson. On Saturday, a 9-2 win over Southern. And then on Sunday, you had a doubleheader where they really turned on the offense. LSU 11-1 winners over Towson on Sunday, 15-0 winners over Southern on Sunday. Just a barrage of offense as you get through the weekend and folks run out of pitching, and that's when LSU fully turned it on. Baseball Tigers will be back at it Wednesday night hosting UNO, 6:30 p.m. in the box. Looking ahead to this coming weekend as well, though, we got some Big 12 showdowns going on. Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. It'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. LSU will be the home team, even though they're in Big 12 country, but the home team against Oklahoma, Texas, and Baylor. So this should be a pretty good test of what these Tigers are capable of coming up this coming weekend. And then they'll bring it back home to host McNeese on Tuesday. So, I mean, why not just stop there on the way back? You're passing through, just go ahead. We'll pick up baseball. You have your lunch plan set for today? Might I suggest Mooyah burgers, fries, and shakes? Love me some Mooyah. I had some Mooyah on Friday. You know what I did? I stepped away from my normal double Diablo. I went to the Blue Bonnet location, stepped away from the normal double Diablo, and went and got the mushroom Swiss burger, which, by the way, is phenomenal. Mushroom Swiss burger, some sweet potato fries. Got it to go and made myself a little mistake there. I forgot to look for the honey in the bag. So just had the sweet potato fries. They were just normally great sweet potato fries, but did not dip them in honey, which is next level. Figured take advantage of that last Friday before I have to stop eating meat on Fridays and dive into Mooyah. So, as it is Lundy Gras, if you don't have lunch plans, Mooyah, burgers, fries, and shakes. Doesn't have to be the mushroom Swiss. It could be the classic double cheeseburger. It could be the barbecue bacon burger, the A Wonderful, whatever. Or build your own. Blue Bonnet at Highland, Segan just north of Industrialplex for Mooyah, burgers, fries, and shakes. High-speed internet access in rural communities. Let's talk about it. It's been an ongoing topic, and the state is set to get a major investment as part of the Biden administration's efforts to narrow the digital divide. You're going to hear about this more from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network here at the bottom of the hour, speaking with Deputy Commerce Secretary Don Graves, who says the state is about to get more than $29 million to build and improve high-speed internet access, and there's more to come.
These funds are really sort of the first down payment on the ability to invest so that every family, every household, every community in Louisiana has access to affordable, quality, high-speed broadband.
This is something that was going to be on the schedule from the beginning, but the pandemic has really ramped up how important it is. Don Graves says the president has made solving this issue a priority, saying, well, he takes it to the point of calling it an injustice.
We know that 19% of households in Louisiana don't have an internet subscription, and more than 10% live in an area where there's no broadband infrastructure whatsoever.
The initial investment is going to target rural communities throughout Acadiana, including Acadia, Evangeline, and St. Landry parishes, right here in Louisiana, and in 12 other states and territories as part of the $65 billion bipartisan infrastructure law. Graves says ensuring access will create equity at schools and workplaces and keep America at the forefront of innovation.
We'll be able to have access to quality, affordable, high-speed broadband so that we can continue to lead in everything, in innovating, in technology, in manufacturing.
Now, this was part of, this was why the vice president was supposed to come to Sunset, Louisiana on Friday. That trip, of course, got canceled because of the war in Russia and Ukraine. Because while all eyes are on Russia and Ukraine, you got to keep one eye on Sunset, Louisiana, and what the vice president's up to. But this was folded into that same announcement trip and whatnot. And like we said, this is part of the infrastructure package, the bipartisan infrastructure package. This is something that Senator Bill Cassidy took a lead on. We've covered it repeatedly, and as the money starts to come to town, we will cover it a heck of a lot more. And in the meanwhile, we're going to take a quick break for news. Start off with CBS before hitting Louisiana Radio Network. Traffic, weather, and then Richard Condon's coming your way right after this on Talk 107.3. Oh. Can you hear this? Boy, it's getting nasty in L.A., yo. That was awesome. Yeah, they did. Eric says it's better to do it now than when you get into your 60s. I hope he's talking about my knee. Nuke Chernobyl. I know, right? Like, what are we doing here? Alert the nuclear forces. For what? A repeat? Labeling something an inequity allows you to spend whatever you want on the problem. Asking for a friend. Pretty much. Oh, just wait till we get to the education phase of this. Why am I so cold? What's up, Rich? Oh, you know, just chilling. We overdid it yesterday.
Did you really?
Oh, jeez. So, because of Mayor Kant, I'm sorry, Cantrell, not just Kant. Although, if you look at her, she's just Mayor Kant. Because of Mayor Kant's inability to staff a police force, routes have been, Mardi Gras routes had to be shortened and combined. So yesterday we had Okeanos, Mid-City, and we go down to Toth every year. Love Toth. Okeanos, Mid-City, and Toth, all in a row. We're at the corner of St. Charles and 6th for like, I don't know, 6-7 hours.
Right.
I mean, I'm not in mid-season form, Rich. I'm not in game shape,
Do we
dude.
still have Ferret? Does Ferret still roll?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah. Mondays in general, man.
Yeah. And this one straddled in because we're going right back down tomorrow. I'm taking a vacation day tomorrow.
I hate it. God bless you,
I
man.
know. I know. Those. I get why those who hate it, but I love it. The kids love it. We're going to do something different tomorrow, though. We're going to do part of the French Quarter stuff, not the Bourbon Street stuff. And those that know, there's a difference. But my cousin rents a brass band. We do our own little marching around and whatever. It's supposed to be a good time. Never done it before.
That's cool.
Never done it before. We should have fun with it. Normally we do Veterans Boulevard out in Metairie for
I've
Mardi
never
Gras
done
Day.
that.
What, for like
Metairie.
Argus and the trucks? Oh, yes, sir. 637 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. So, if you're Lundy Gras starting off slowly, if you're having trouble just shaking off the weekend, if you're still got vodka sweat from Spanish Town, not to worry. It's time to kickstart your week. It's time to welcome in Richard
Hey, B,
Condon.
they still push around Swagman baskets selling candy apples.
They
and
do!
Cotton candy.
They do!
And the long balloons.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? You know what they're selling yesterday? Let's Go Brandon flags. I don't know how much. We tell the kids ahead of time. Anything you want off of that cart, we can buy you 1,000 of for the price of one.
I'll tell you a true story.
What?
One of my fondest memories, and I don't have many. I'm not a big Mardi Gras guy.
No, you don't like Mardi Gras.
Is when my mama's beehive hairdo got caught on fire.
What?
Flambeau guy. Not making it up. Back then they had the beehive hairdo, and they had like a can of Aqua, whatever that hairspray is, right?
Gotta be, yeah, but like you call this one of your fondest memories?
Flo, your hair's on fire. Had to put that crap out. Not making it up either.
And that was a fond memory.
A fond memory.
Oh,
Just,
good Lord.
Well, I shared it so many times.
I don't want to open the
I shared it so
Freudian
many
package.
times with you, man. When you grew up just blocks off of St. Charles, and there wasn't no driveways. You had the parallel park, and you couldn't get home. And if you got home, you couldn't go out.
I know.
And my old man had to ride horseback in a parade because he was NOPD.
Yeah.
And he couldn't stand it because he got to deal with all the out-of-town drunks and the locals. Just not a huge Mardi Gras fan, but understand you're going to have fun with your family.
Yes.
It's part of our culture.
It is.
And it's unbelievable.
It is.
Let me tell you.
Everywhere else, tomorrow's just Tuesday.
Let me tell you something. The blood of every dead Ukrainian goes on the hands of all the people out there who voted for Joe Biden. Okay, and I'm going to tell you this.
How you figure that?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you think if Trump was in office, this crap would be going on, it wouldn't be going on. Zero. So let me tell you. See, all these people out there, all these guys who play Dungeons and Dragons and they drive their little electric cars and they don't believe in a death penalty, and the vegans, you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
All those goofballs who voted for Joe Biden, that's why you're paying close to $4 a gallon for gas. And that stuff's not going to end
It ain't
soon.
stopping
and
there.
Let me tell you this. He's going to make his address the nation speech tomorrow.
The State of
What
the
the
Union.
hell? Whatever the hell. What the hell you think he's going to say that's going to benefit any of us? It's going to be the same old thing. No fracking. We're not going to open up the pipeline. We're still going to have to rely on other people. I'll tell you one thing. Everybody who voted for Joe Biden, I don't know how you do it logistically. I don't know how you figure it out. They should be paying $3-something a gallon. And the rest of us who voted for Trump, we should be back to like $2.20.
So this is part of the problem.
You know, let's not forget Mayor Broom's letter to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, too, because she's responsible for this. She wrote them a congratulatory letter. You remember she did.
Yeah, well, but that's after
Yeah,
the
but
fact.
she
That's
said in
after
the
the
letter,
fact.
they were going to
You
unite
can
the
say
country.
congratulate.
Broom
You have
said
to
they were
work
gonna
with
unite the
them.
country. Let me ask you
You got
something.
to work with them, Rich.
Let me ask you, when you walk out of here, how often do you realize on the way home that this country is indeed united now?
Oh, no. We're not. We're not. Clearly, by your sentiments, you're not united.
I'll tell you one thing. I've never had more respect for a group of people than the Ukrainians.
Bro.
I mean, they are unbelievable how they've rallied behind the cause.
Ridiculous.
It's amazing. And, hey, here's my question talking about that. You saw Vitalik Klitschko, former heavyweight champion? You know,
I didn't.
He's the mayor. He's the mayor of Cade, whatever.
Kyiv, yeah.
He's the mayor. You
Is
didn't know
he?
that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the mayor. So let me tell you what he did. They got a great, iconic photo of him, and he's mounting a machine gun. Because he's mounted. Right? The troops right there, and they're just like the president.
Right.
He's in there. He's in there with his guys. So I see Vitalik Klitschko, man, and here he is. He's mounting. He's waiting for the Russians to come. And I'm going, worst case scenario. Now, how many things over the last couple of years, everybody listening to you never thought you'd see in this country? You never thought you'd see.
No, that would be in it. That would be in it for sure.
So what I'm getting ready to tell you, you're going to think it's insane. It's so irrational. Let me tell you something. If the Russians come down Government Street, you think Broom's mounting a machine gun outside of 222 St. Louis Street?
I do not.
Exactly right.
I do not.
That's why I like Vitalik.
Okay.
I love him. Here's another thing.
So would you love Mayor Broom if she
Damn
was...
right. I want her to fight for the city. If ever I get out of my house and I hear air sirens going
Yeah.
on and understand there's tanks going down Florida Boulevard or somewhere on St. Louis Street, anywhere downtown, I want Broom to do what Klitschko's doing.
Well, I mean, she could go over to Blue Bonnet at Picardy.
The way the city's going just with the crowd.
That's
what
right.
happened on Friday, but
Where
tomorrow she's going to have to be mounting a machine gun somewhere in this town.
Late model sedans getting Sonny Corleone outside of Mulla,
Let me tell you this,
Louisiana.
okay? Look, after that tragedy on Friday with the 18 and the 19-year-old, all right?
Yeah.
All right. It's got to be drug-related, revenge. Obviously, those two were meant to be shot. Sadly, you know, they lose their life. But after the event, and you could tell it really hurt, you know, Chief Paul. He was emotionally bothered by it. You know, distraught that two young men lost their life. But Chief Paul said something I totally disagree with. Chief Paul said, we have failed them. No. There's no we have failed them, all right? My kids went to school. They're successful. They don't have any crime, all right? They don't have no criminal record. I didn't fail anybody. So don't lump me in with we have failed them. No, ain't no we have failed them. If I would have been in and out of jail and have been dealing with drugs all my life and embezzling money from my employer, my dad would say, I failed. I failed. Ain't no we. See, that's the problem. And like Shaquille O'Neal says, it takes a village to raise people, whatever that saying is.
It does.
No, that's the whole problem. No. That is the whole damn problem. It doesn't take a village.
You're triggering me now, Rich. Yes, it does.
Take a village.
Yes, it does, and I'll tell you
why.
why.
Plant the seed and raise his crops. That's what it takes.
When you did something wrong, when you were a kid, you did something wrong. On your way
I
home,
fear my
your
own man
neighbor
was gonna bust my behind. My dad.
But your neighbor was going to give you crap, and your neighbor's neighbor
wouldn't
was
worry
going
about my
to.
neighbor.
He was going to tell your
Doesn't
old
matter.
man too.
It
The
doesn't matter.
whole village chimed in.
Village crap.
Oh.
Let me ask you something. Your kids. Do you need a village to raise your kids? Tell me you and your wife can't
you
raise
telling
your
me
kids.
you don't have an
I'm
information
asking
network?
You, do you need the community
There
to
is
help raise your
nothing.
kids?
Yes, I do, and I'll tell you why. I need intel. If they do something wrong, I have to know about it. How do I know about it?
I get
Yes.
that.
That's the village, Rich.
There's
That's
no
the
we.
village. Oh,
Word gets back to your parents, and then they take care of it. So
you're
gonna
get it. You're gonna get it when you get home, and your dad's gonna give it to you when you get home. That's the village.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, hey, a lot of it falls on me, yes, but without that intel, I'm worthless.
Oh, that's not true at all. Zero truth to that, Brian. I see how you're playing Mr. P here. Mr. Positive, okay? Mr. I'm in the community. I just want to get along with everybody. I'm Captain Community. Freaking we. That's the problem is we got too many we's. We don't have him.
No man is an island.
Don't need we's. We need a him.
No man is an island,
Oh,
Rich.
here we go. Gee, what are you going to speak to the Democratic Party on Tuesday night?
No.
You're unbelievable, man.
Hey, why is Joe Biden? Hey, this could be more.
Oh,
asleep.
wait, he about to.
Wait.
You know when they had them 2 kids shot? You know what I thought? I thought Guantanamo reopened. So let me tell you this. That's why they shut
I would
down
like to run the
Guantanamo.
numbers.
Because
Can
that
we
whole
run?
area went down
Cortana
to
didn't have
crapper.
any.
That's why they had to shut Guantanamo down.
No.
Because the whole area went down to crap. Yeah, the value of the property, the crime in that area,
Yes.
it went down to crap.
No.
So here's my question.
There have been
to you.
more
Here's
shootings
my
at the
question
Mall
to
of
you.
Louisiana than there ever were at
When is the
Cortana.
mall going to shut down on Booba? Is it going to be because of the crimes coming up from the wall?
Well-
or the crime here is going further south?
If you would like me to spell out the ultimate irony, we're now opening Amazon
I swear,
where Cortana
You
was.
just ruined my day. Not my day, but my whole
It's
freaking
online
week.
shopping,
'Cause I'm
Rich.
gonna
That's
hear
why
this crap
Amazon's
all day
coming
long.
in. No.
Oh, we. We don't need a we. We need men to father kids and to be a disciplinarian in that family to encourage, to support, to play pitch in the backyard with him. That's what we need. And you know what? When his mom was out at the mall shopping, he could give his kid his old Playboy magazine and drink a Miller Pony and introduce himself to manhood with his dad. Come on, Haldane.
Jeez.
Come on.
Hey, who falls asleep first Tuesday? Joe Biden or Comas?
Well, you got to wake him up for him to fall asleep. Oh, hey, look.
The meeting of the courts!
Hey, I got to congratulate Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but
Number
if you
2
would have told me
seed.
they would have went to Tennessee, blew an 18-point second-half lead, and only scored 1 point. 1 point in the final 5 minutes, and still find a way to win.
Got it done.
So, I mean, congratulations. You know, she came out and said, we're not there yet.
No,
For
they're
her
not.
to go from 9 wins last season, well, she went to 25 wins this season. They'll play 6 o'clock on Friday, number 2 seed.
Yeah.
So, congrats to Kim Mulkey. That's a hell of a job.
I'm doing my best to temper
You
expectations.
dressing up like Morgus tomorrow, Mr. Bingle? What are you
Man,
doing?
I don't know yet. I don't know if we're going to
You're
costume.
dressed up like Al Scramillo.
I might just be doing the purple,
Why don't
green,
you
and gold
dress up
shirt.
like Al Duckworth with the weather?
I might.
Why don't you do that? Dude,
might.
you got to go to New Orleans on me.
I will.
Oh, no. I know you're going to say you will. You know why you don't have it? You don't have it here because you grew up on the North Shore.
Whatever.
You don't have it here, dude.
Whatever.
You and your little St. Paul's. Isn't that precious?
He's Richard Condon on Eagle 98.1.
Remember, there's no we.
That's
It's
we.
I.
It's we. It's you and me, brother. Moral Dilemma Monday coming your way
Why
next.
Jake gets fed up with you?
So good. I have no idea how that happened so quickly. Oh, shit. That was so good, Rich. Love you. Oh, shit. That was so good. Perfect. Chris White says, I didn't know Sonny Corleone was a verb. I'm glad somebody heard that. No. I mean, I might go back and forth with you a little bit. So. Oh. All right, where are we at, YouTube? Here we go. Here we go again. That's interesting. There are 3 times as many people watching on YouTube according to this as according to that. Very interesting. I don't know why it wouldn't be the same all over the place. I've got 6 there and 18 here. Right. All right, y'all ready for Moral Dilemma Monday? You're going to love this. I hope. I hope you're going to love this. This might just be a... Oh, what's my next live read? Okay, then I'm going to squeeze in. Since I have room here, I'm going to squeeze in a Go Slim, which is not on the books for today. But... Love my haircut, but like the way it grows back in, it gets all poofy in the back right here, so I feel like I'm constantly matting it back down again. Yeah. I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to having hair, though. Like, high and tight's the only way to roll for me. Although it's cold. A morning like this morning, yeah. I need that Borghardt Law Firm ski cap. Or whatever, skull hat, whatever. Knit cap. It's a pretty baller-ass hat. Like, Franz put some money into his wearables. Oh, shit, my knee. So much pain. .652, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Thanks again to Richard Condon for that, whatever that was. He's right about Ukraine, by the way. Who saw that level of fight in anybody? And still seeing, oh, by the way. More on Ukraine and Russia with the CBS World News Roundup coming up in a little bit. It is time to introduce a new segment to the show. This is something we've been toying with behind the scenes, and today's a good day to break it out. Because it is still Mardi Gras season. It is still Carnival season, which means it is still King Cake season. The segment's called Moral Dilemma Monday. No, this isn't some deep-seated moral dilemma like, I saw my friend's wife cheating on... Not like that yet. But every Monday, we're going to ask you a question, and I want answers to that question on our YouTube chat. I don't know that there's right or wrong answers here, just opinion overall. So, it is Carnival season. It is King Cake season. I want to walk you through a scenario and get your take. Someone brings a king cake into the office. That king cake is public property, is it not? Unless otherwise stated, you put the king cake in the company office, it is to be shared by all. Take a slice of king cake, leave the knife in the box. That's not the question. Of course you leave the knife in the box. That's never a question. Take a slice of king cake, leave the knife in the box. but the king cake is public property, right? It belongs to everyone there. However, what if you see the king cake, you don't want to slice right then, but you think you're going to want to slice later. So you cut a slice of the king cake, you put it on a little plate, you wrap it in tin foil, and you set it in the fridge. Is that king cake now yours, or is it still public property? And if you go back to the fridge later on, and that king cake is gone, was it stolen from you, or was it never yours to begin with? Let us know on YouTube. You like where this is going, Jake?
I could say so. There's a lot of questions to ask with all of that whole situation.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because this is Office Etiquette 101 right here. When does public food become private? And conversely, when does private food become public? That's a whole other thing we'll get into another week. But when does public food become private? I'll tell you what sparked this. We've been toying around with the possibility of this topic, or the possibility of this segment, for some time now. Every Friday, I weigh in over at Go Slim, right? Mm-hmm. Well, Thursday, there was a king cake downstairs in the kitchen. A good third of it was already gone, so clearly folks have been having at it. I said, I'm not having a slice of king cake the day before my weigh-in. No, I'm not that stupid. When I go over to Go Slim at the corner of Blue Bonnet at Perkins, right next door to Rouse's, when I go over to hit my weigh-in every single week, and I sit down with Vicky, and we talk about how I can manage my way through Mardi Gras weekend. More on Go Slim in just a minute. But there's no way I was having that slice beforehand. So I put it in one of those little, like, they got those nacho boats down. I call them nacho boats. They're not really a plate. They're not really a bowl.
Like it's like a tub.
Right.
But it's like paper.
Like if you go to a ball game and order nachos, it comes in a little boat-like
like
thing, right? Yeah, hot dog carries it, yeah. And then I wrapped it in aluminum foil, and I put it in the fridge.
Okay.
I got back from my weigh-in Friday. Gonzo. Ooh. It was not there anymore. And I'm like, wait a minute now.
Interesting.
Wait a minute.
So
it was public when it was on the table.
So this is life experience you're talking
about.
You're
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hypothetical. You're like...
No. This happened IRL.
All right. Now, this got a lot more interesting.
See? Does it become your property? I didn't buy the king cake. I didn't bring the king cake. But once you've taken a slice and set it aside, is that now yours?
I think...
And was it stolen? See?
I think it would have been smart of you to put your name on it.
Dang it! Okay.
You should have
No. You're right where my wife was at when I was test running this topic. Was your name on it? No. But here's the flip side of that, dude. If I didn't put something in the refrigerator, I damn sure shouldn't be taking it back out of the refrigerator.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I would never take someone else's food if I know specifically.
Okay,
if it's not mine, I'm not touching it.
If your rule is your name on it, can I just go through willy-nilly and grab like the jar of peanut butter that's in there?
I wouldn't say.
Can I grab the leftover government taco that is like there's a revolving door of leftover government taco in our fridge?
I don't think you'd be looked kindly by fellow employees.
Don't care. Your name wasn't on it.
I don't know.
Like if you didn't put it in the fridge, don't touch it. Don't take it back out again.
Yeah. That's tough.
Right? When does public food become private? And what kind of time frame before it becomes public again?
I don't even think I have an answer to that. That's tough.
All right, we're going to go to YouTube in just a minute. Let me remind you about the folks over at Go Slim Nutrition. Appropriately enough, if I'm talking about slamming king cake down my face hole. 763-9600, 763-9600. Vicky's like, no, Brian, stop with the banana-filled king cake. Oh, God, I wanted that so badly. I love banana pudding. So they're on Blue Bonnet at Perkins, 763-9600, GEAUX, slimbr.com is the website. I'm within you-know-what distance of my high school weight, the weight I graduated high school at. It's down to the wire here, and Go Slim has been the reason for it. I lost 60 pounds last year, and Go Slim has been the reason for it. 763-9600. You can get diet food anywhere. Look, as we're approaching the Lenten season, as the countdown to summer gets closer and continues, want to drop a few pounds, want to adopt some healthier lifestyle choices, Go Slim gets you through it within your lifestyle. The food is fantastic, but it's about the coaching, the training, the accountability, and the teamwork over at GEAUX, slimbr.com. All right, Debbie says on YouTube, yours, yes, stolen.
I could see why she would come to that conclusion.
It's yours. When you cut the piece, you took possession at that point. See, I think I'm leaning somewhere here.
See, Troy's doing this for the enjoyment.
Troy says, I like to keep those situations ambiguous, solely for the enjoyment of to the person who ate my leftover meatball sandwich from the fridge emails. Pure entertainment.
I can imagine it'd be funny to read.
Galen says, all things in the refrigerator are personal items, not public. See, the only reason there's any doubt here is because I didn't buy it and I didn't bring it. All I did was move it from the table, which is across from the sink. I moved it from the table into the fridge. Here's the part of this that baffles me, though. Oh, we got to get the news. Is I wrapped it in tinfoil. So regardless of what was inside, someone had to go to the fridge and unwrap something that never belonged to them in the first place to discover that it was the public king cake to begin with.
That's
All
pretty
right,
cruddy.
let's keep taking your comments on YouTube as we hit news. Colton says, it was yours. Maybe put your name on it next time, but it isn't required. I don't want to live in a world where I've got to put... I don't want to live in a world where someone goes into a refrigerator and comes back out with anything that they didn't personally put into that refrigerator. This isn't your house. It's a place of business. Yes, we're a family here at Guarantee, but damn it, it's a place of business. You didn't put it in, you don't take it out. That's what she said. All right, also, as we're continuing to take the comments on the Moral Dilemma Monday, which we might revisit later on. But as we continue to take those comments, I want your comments on Moral Dilemma Monday as well. Do you like the concept of this as a segment, part one? And part two, do you like where it's at? I figure 6:52 to 7 o'clock, 6:53 to 7 o'clock, is plenty of room to run, plenty of room to get feedback, and plenty of room to give you something to talk about throughout the day. Because this, to me, is a conversation that this particular one could happen in any kitchen or any workplace break area out there. So as you roll into work, if you have to go to work today, as you roll into work, maybe share with your coworkers this very concept. And if for some reason you work in a place where you have to have your name on something, maybe bring up the idea that if you didn't put it in, don't take it out. Troy says, leave out the fact of the foil covering and expect skewed results in your polling. You're right, Troy. You're absolutely right. It was foil covered, to be sure. You had to remove the foil in order to discover that it was banana pudding king cake inside it. Think about that, though. Banana pudding mixed with the cinnamon of the cake, and then the icing on top with sliced bananas on top. Shit. Missing out, man. Did I just Chris Tucker right there? Like Smokey from Friday? And you know this! It was Chuck P, I bet. I don't think it was Chuck P, although Chuck P had himself a night on Thursday night and ended up sleeping here. Y'all remember Chuck P rolled in, hungover on Friday morning? He had the opportunity. He had the motive. Sleeping one off in the office. I don't know. I'm not impugning Chuck yet. You're innocent until proven king cake. No, actually, you know why I don't think it was Chuck? Because I think it happened. If it was Chuck, it would have happened after if it was Chuck, it would have happened after he went out, okay? Now, the schedule of events, the timeline here, as I think this through, I'm thinking way too much about this. As I think this through, the porter, the facility services guy, empties the garbage every day somewhere around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. When I looked in the fridge Friday morning, there was an empty, because I go in, the first thing I do is I'll make coffee. I make the coffee for the whole floor, right? Because I'm the first one in the building every morning, unless Chuck slept here. I'm the first one in the building every morning. So when I went to make the coffee, open up the bag, pour it in the little filter, go to dump it in, I put that coffee bag in an empty garbage can. If Chuck had done it, it would have been in the wee hours of the morning after the garbage was taken, and there would have been the tin foil and the little boat sitting in the garbage can then. So the evidence was not in place at the time. Timeline of events plays in Chuck's favor. If Chuck did it, he went to great lengths to make sure he threw away his trash in a different garbage can. Besides, Chuck has had way too much of his beer stolen out of that fridge to victimize anyone else. So I stand by my guy. Where'd they get the king cake from? Well, it wasn't Mathern's, but I was looking forward to it anyway. I think it was an Oak Point. Heard a better one. Someone didn't buy, but left with half a king cake at the end of the shift without asking if it was all done. Oh, my God! Debbie, it's such a good topic. To-go plates from public food. When your office buys everybody lunch, what's the rule on a to-go plate? Like, we had a training a couple weeks ago, and they brought in Raisin Cane's. I went light for lunch. I got 2 chicken fingers because I can't go more than 2 because of the diet, right? It's fried chicken. But I grabbed a 3rd one on the way out, and I was feeling guilty about that. I was like, wait a minute, I already had my lunch. Should I be grabbing something to go? And then somebody else was making a damn plate of like a dozen chicken fingers to take home. Now, it was left over. The event that was scheduled was clearly over. But they were packing up a whole box to go. Like, I'm bringing this home to the kid. What the hell? What are you doing? It goes in the company fridge where it remains public food. See, company fridge, public food, but it was still in the container that it was delivered in, not removed. Colton says, I was totally kidding. I just wanted to start some office drama. We might run with that. Hang on, broke my headphones. Shoot. Awesome. 707, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way. Hey, thanks to everybody for chiming in on the Moral Dilemma Monday. Kind of like it. The conversation continued all the way through the break. A number of great perspectives on this, most of them confirming my suspicions. Now, that king cake was stolen from me. I didn't purchase it, I didn't bring it, and yet somehow I claimed ownership, and somehow I'm in the right. We're going to find a way to do this every Monday. It'll be a different burning topic. In the meanwhile, we got a lot of ground to cover here. This hour, we've got Medical Monday coming your way. Next segment, Dr. Terry Stelly is an open heart surgeon over at Our Lady of the Lake. He's going to join us to talk open heart surgery, as today is the last day of Heart Month. Then we're going to talk with Lauren Gleason with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. She heads up the education and workforce development end for LABI. A lot going to be on the table less than a month from now, when the regular session convenes midway through March. There's going to be a lot to talk about, so we're going to set that table right now. Getting you to top stories and trending in just a second, but I do have to remind you about, speaking of what's coming up in March, not just the regular legislative session, but about a week and a half into that legislative session, Fred Keller's going to be in town. Who's Fred Keller? He's the founder and chair of Cascade Engineering. Why is he coming to town? Well, Fred provides some perspective on getting yourself out of a workforce crisis. Louisiana's been in a workforce crisis. We hear unemployment numbers are continuing to get better, but the number of businesses that are struggling to stay afloat and the number of low to middle income families out there that are just straight up drowning is still astronomical. Rise LA wants to help. At Rise LA, you can learn how Fred Keller, founder and chair of Cascade Engineering, changed the way his company did business. Got hundreds of employees off of welfare while raising profits. Oh, these things are not mutually exclusive. Want to learn more? Visit risela.biz, risela.biz. Their big business and industry luncheon is coming up March 22nd. There are still some seats available. Risela.biz. We all rise together. All right, time for top stories and trending. Let's go. Most of our stories this morning happen on the streets of Baton Rouge or the surrounding area. This one, however, not. Grabbing it from Sam Carlin over at The Advocate. When sales in Louisiana's restrictive medical marijuana program began in 2019, advocates and prospective marijuana business owners worried it would be tough sledding to survive financially, given the realms of regulations attached to the program. However, reports Carlin, the recent relaxation of many of those rules, including, crucially, the addition of more popular flower products, has rapidly drawn major investment in the pot industry. Now, for the few companies who have control over growing and selling the drug through exclusive state licenses, big profits seem possible. That being said, we're not to the profit stage yet. Public records show the state's two growers, private companies hired by LSU and Southern, respectively, spent the most money last year on production in 2021 while also expanding capabilities. Private companies who grow the plant legally don't report on the finances, but it looks like they are getting near being able to report a number of profits. However, by 2024, LSU's growing partner, an Arkansas-based firm called Good Day Farm, we've talked with John Davis from Good Day right here on the show, expects Louisiana's medical marijuana market to top 110,000 patients. That's more than 7 times the current number. So look for continued growth. A man was hit and killed by an alleged drunk driver while pushing his vehicle to a gas station. According to BRPD, 40-year-old Shane Dawson was pushing his car in the 6400 block of Airline early Saturday morning. Officers said 31-year-old Tevin Miles hit and killed Dawson at 2:20 a.m., also injuring a passenger steering Dawson's car. Police said Miles immediately left the scene, was later caught and booked for vehicular homicide, hit and run, and driving while intoxicated. A feud between violent groups led to a deadly drive-by near the Mall of Louisiana Friday afternoon, according to BRPD. Police swarmed the intersection of Bluebonnet and Picardy around 1:30 p.m. after an unidentified shooter opened fire on another vehicle near the entrance of the mall parking lot. 4 people were inside the targeted vehicle at the time. 2 of them died at the scene. The other 2 were taken to a hospital with serious injuries. BRPD later identified the victims who died as 18-year-old Dante Dorsey and 19-year-old Clifton Lindsay. The 2 victims taken to the hospital were 21 and 19 years old. Dorsey was a well-known local rapper known as True Bleeda. That's unfortunate. Neighbors say gunshots were fired last week at Lindsay's home on Reverie Drive in the Glen Oaks area. State police are investigating 2 separate overnight crashes that killed 3 people and led to 1 arrest. One crash was outside of Zachary. It killed 2 men when their vehicle overturned, ejecting them. Another crash in Gonzales claimed the life of a pedestrian walking in the roadway. 1 man was arrested for suspected impaired driving. Troopers say the first crash happened shortly after 10 p.m. Saturday on Highway 61 north of Highway 964. That crash claimed the lives of 27-year-old Cameron Davis and 30-year-old Christopher Bourgeois. The second crash happened shortly after midnight Sunday on Highway 938. That's Coon Trap Road, south of Highway 74 in Gonzales. Police say that crash claimed the life of 56-year-old Willie Owens and led to the arrest of 31-year-old Jasper Bougere. Got another crash to talk about. A deadly crash out in Ascension Parish shut down all the westbound lanes of I-10 early this morning. The wreck involved an overturned pickup truck was reported sometime before 4:30 a.m. Near Highway 22 in Sorrento. I-10 West remains closed at the scene of the crash as of about an hour ago when it was last reported. You'll hear more reports from Ashley Frugier in our traffic segment coming up in a minute. Traffic is being diverted to Airline Highway. Those are your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending. Got to check in on Russia and Ukraine. In a dramatic escalation of East-West tensions over Russia's invasion of Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin ordered Russian nuclear forces put on high alert Sunday in response to what he called aggressive statements by leading NATO powers. The directive to put Russia's nuclear weapons in an increased state of readiness for launch raised fears that the crisis could boil over into nuclear warfare, whether by design or mistake. Putin's step is, quote, potentially putting in play forces that, if there's a miscalculation, could make things much, much more dangerous, said a senior U.S. defense official, speaking in condition of anonymity. Amid the mounting tensions, Ukraine announced that a delegation from the country had agreed to meet with Russian officials for talks. The Kremlin's ultimate aims in Ukraine and what steps might be enough to satisfy Moscow remained unclear. There is no satisfying Moscow. They will take Ukraine, and that's their plan. Quick break. When we come back, Medical Mondays coming your way next. All right, we should have this guy on the hotline by now. Troy says, my office's unwritten rule is leftovers are put out for lunch the next day. Anything left after that is fair game to take away. See, that's reasonable. That's very reasonable. And yes, we kind of have that same unwritten rule around here. But we're also living in a time and place where you have to write the rules, right? I'm baffled by the number of people who have told me, what was your name on it? Shut up. What? Why? Why would my name be on it? Food! I got to run down the hall real quick. Actually, let me...
Hey, it's Haldane. Have you heard the new podcast yet? We're calling it Cool Story, bro. Why? Because there's a ton of cool stories to be told right now. Whether you're talking about events that transpire over the course of a lifetime, over the course of a career, or catching lightning in a bottle, that moment of greatness. Greatness happens all around us. If we want to learn from it, if we want to replicate it, we just have to tell the story. Cool Story, bro, is available now on the Guaranteed Podcast Network.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Frugier.
I-10 has been shut down for nearly 2 hours in Sorrento. A fatal crash occurred just before the show began. One person died in this rollover crash happening on I-10 on the westbound side between Airline and Sorrento. The Medical Monday spot?
Yep. No, not till they get here. Oh, shit, what do we do here? Yeah. You got it. I ain't gonna take up a 14-minute segment for sure. Give me 10, 11, and 12, please. (718) Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Normally, this is a time when we bring you Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake. It is Heart Month, and we were supposed to be speaking with a cardiothoracic surgeon this morning, although I'm looking at my calendar right now, and I don't think this is right. I think there's a little cross-up in the scheduling here. It is a holiday week, which that's not unheard of that we wouldn't have. Yep. Looks like we doubled up. Interesting. Because if I'm not mistaken... All right, yeah. Might not have Medical Monday today. No worries. You heard a story in the news from Louisiana Radio Network about the possibility of Bill Cassidy running for governor. Although I don't think Cassidy has sounded off on this yet at all. But we'll get into that in a minute. I want to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's Market. Mathern's Market, you know where to find them, downtown on 3rd Street and on the corner of Nicholson and Skip Hartman Drive. The folks over at Mathern's Market, they have been your Mardi Gras parade and headquarters, your King Cake headquarters, and the like. Well, you know they're here the rest of the year as well, right? And they're a full-service grocery store. I stumbled across something in their with their lunches on, what was it, Saturday. I had the LSU men's basketball game. Every time I'm producing for LSU, I'm in the big building in the parking lot of Tiger Stadium, which means they're literally across the street from me. So I head on over across the street and grab myself something to eat. Buffalo chicken quesadilla, y'all. Oh, so good. Not so much spicy as it was tangy. Really, really overloaded with chicken, to be sure. So good. Anyway, just one of the many lunch items that they've got over there. Swing by and hit up the hot bar during the lunch hours, or visit their deli counter, or, knock out your grocery shopping. They are a full-service grocery store, and if you download the Mathern's app right now, you can have all the groceries brought up right out to your car. You don't even have to, you could do your grocery shopping before you leave work. Pull into the parking lot. They've got some spots designated for pickup. Save yourself a ton of time, and it's very convenient. Mathern's, downtown on 3rd Street, or Nicholson, in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, right across the street from Tiger Stadium. So, what is the likelihood of Senator Bill Cassidy running for governor? I know, we got more than a year to go. You heard our news at the bottom of last hour. It's the way too early projections, right? Well, last week at the Rotary Club, Ron Fauché was commenting on it. And that conversation picked up and carried over to our news partners at LRN, who report, quote, a noted political analyst and former state lawmaker says Senator Bill Cassidy would be a most formidable candidate for governor if he should decide to run. Ron Fauché says, should Cassidy choose to run, the field he's running against is not particularly well known and don't have a particularly strong base.
I think he's in a position to build a bipartisan coalition. He can run as a Republican, and I think he'll appeal to a lot of different segments in the electorate that some of the other candidates wouldn't have.
Now, for his part, Senator Cassidy has not declared any intention to run in 2023. That being said, he's got a year and a half to make up his mind, right? In a recent interview with the Advocate newspaper in Baton Rouge, Cassidy says he's aware his name's coming up, but, quote, I am quite engaged right now being a U.S. Senator representing our state. Fauché says Cassidy has statewide recognition that other candidates who intend to run don't have.
And I think he would be in a position to pick up votes from Republicans, independents, and Democrats.
But do the other candidates not have statewide recognition? Aside from the fact that we're still a year away from qualifying and knowing who those candidates are, let's take a moment to walk down the path of who those potential candidates could be. I mean, there's 3 names on the Republican side alone, 3 names that continually come up, and all of them currently hold a statewide office. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. Bear in mind, I'm not speaking on behalf of any of the candidates. I'm not endorsing any of the candidates, and I'm not saying any of them are going to run. I'm just saying these are the names that have come up. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, State Treasurer John Schroeder, and Attorney General Jeff Landry. Have we not heard these names repeatedly? We speak with all 3 of these people on a regular basis. They all hold statewide offices. How can you hold a statewide office and not have name recognition? I realize treasurer, a little bit further down the ballot, doesn't garner as much attention as governor or lieutenant governor. Attorney general, same thing. But do we not have a very outspoken state treasurer? Do we not hear commercials for the unclaimed property program right here? He is utilizing that office to help Louisiana in every way that he knows how through his office through the job that he currently has. I'd be curious to see what level of statewide recognition you've got when it comes to the difference between a senator and a treasurer, or a senator and an attorney general, or a senator and a lieutenant governor. Fauché says each of them would have to give up their current position in order to run.
Bill Cassidy has to make the decision. Does he want to be governor? Does he want to leave his position in the U.S. Senate? He does not have to give up his Senate seat to run for governor because he was just reelected.
Correct. Now, where you break this down and where it really runs into problems for Cassidy is not in the rundown. The rundown's the easy part. It's in getting to the rundown. Cassidy did not garner a whole lot of friendships by impeaching the former president. So you had to start breaking things down on a within the Republican Party angle to find out how Cassidy would do. And before you get to any of that, you've got to start with, does he want it? Does he want that gig? He would literally be halfway through his second term in the Senate. Or no, is it second or third? He would be halfway through the term that he was just elected to. So while he wouldn't have to give up the gig to run, if he got the new gig, he would have to give up the old gig only halfway through it. Would he even want that? Meanwhile, if you have those four Republican names running, and I have an inkling that there's going to be 3 or 4 more on the Republican side alone, how do you sift through it? How do you sift through it to find the best leader for Louisiana on a statewide level? When you look at something like the governor's race, do you take into account where everyone else currently is and how they serve within those roles? It's going to be a weird race, especially when you consider getting 3 or 4 more Republicans in before it's all said and done. I think there's going to be a couple of younger names that are in it, a lot less heard of names that are going to get in it. And that's all on the Republican side. I'm sure there will be a Democrat to run. Don't know who yet, but I'm sure there will be at least one Democrat to run. So on the Republican side, it's all about surviving the open primary and just getting yourself to the runoff. I wonder how that would look. How would you handicap that? How would you handicap a breaking down of state treasurer, attorney general, who has been in the headlines a lot? We talk with Jeff every month on the show about the work that he's doing. He gets himself involved in a number of different stories where the AG may or may not be the right person to be sounding off, and Jeff never shies away from it, always lean towards sounding off. So you got state treasurer, attorney general, and then you got the lieutenant governor, who honestly has not been nearly as polarizing as the attorney general, has been very much out front about getting Louisiana back on its culture, recreation, and tourism feet after not just the pandemic, but the hurricanes from Laura to Ida and everyone in between. Oh, also, the story, according to Louisiana Radio Network, mentions Senator Rick Ward in there as well. And that's an interesting aspect because, and I would put Rick Ward in that potential category as well. Rick, I don't believe, has said anything publicly about running. But he was one of the younger names that I was thinking of a moment ago. Rick's in an interesting spot right now because you're about to see a ton of movement in the infrastructure world right in his backyard. From physical infrastructure to being out in front on it, building a new bridge, to digital infrastructure or reducing the digital divide. There's work to be done on his side of the river there as well. I don't know that there's room in the whole conversation for him to fight and claw for enough of a seat at the table in order to get yourself to the runoff. But he'd be an interesting choice, to be sure. What are your thoughts? Let us know on YouTube. We got the YouTube chat's open. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. At Mornings with Brian Haldane on YouTube. The show's there live every single day from 6 to 9. And, of course, you can go back and watch it after the fact if you so choose. What's a name we're not thinking of as well? Who's somebody you'd like to see run? And if you've got any insight on the Democratic side, please share. Would love to know who's going to be coming in from that side. Because we are very much a right-leaning state across the board, with the exception of Governor John Bel Edwards. What would be the possibility of that happening again? Personally, I don't think much. But all right. We're going to shift gears here in just a little bit. We're going to shift gears here in just a little bit and talk about the upcoming legislative session. Every Monday, we speak with the folks from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Normally, that's Stephen Wagerspeck. Today, it is Lauren Gleason. Lauren Gleason heads up education and workforce development. They've got their eyes on a number of things in the upcoming legislative session, and we're going to tackle as many of them as we can in the time that we have. Right now, though, let's take a break. Get the latest on Ukraine and Russia from CBS News. We will hear from our partners at Louisiana Radio Network. We will check traffic. We will check weather. Then we're right back at it as Mornings with Brian Haldane. Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane continues next, right here on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. Jeez. I would have been more content to do more of the Moral Dilemma Monday. So Rick Ward's a name that I was thinking about. You see the twinkle in his eye if you bring it up to him. Rick's a good guy, although I think he would be punching out of his weight class a little bit here, just from a war chest standpoint. But the other problem with that is when you've got the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, and the state treasurer all vying for the same dollars, how thin does it get? I didn't want to do that on the air because it gets way into the weeds. It's way inside baseball. Oh, shit. I'm tired. All right. Jordan Gleason, welcome aboard. Thank you for subscribing. Oh, shit. He led with it. Oh, good. He went with different sound bites. Troy says it's even odds that Gary Chambers will enter the governor's race. Got nothing else going on. Bruh. That's funny. How about Clay Schechtner for the governorship? Seems to have good leadership qualities. Whoa, wow. I didn't even think about Clay. Shame on me. Bro, that's good. Again, he would run into the same problem as Rick Ward or, bro, there's another name that I'm not going to bring up yet. But there's another name who has been on this show regularly, not too regularly, but he's been on a couple times, who would be an interesting candidate because he brings to the table something nobody else in that race has, and that is a combination of legislative and executive branch experience. Not executive branch on the statewide level, but the parish president. And no, I'm not talking about Sharon Weston Broome, although Sharon would be to me, Sharon Weston Broome is the most likely choice on the Democrat side. I'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who checks off as many boxes as she does as far as resume is concerned, not as far as any box checking is concerned. But she has legislative experience. She has executive experience. Her city parish, like it or not, has shown job growth. If you want to argue that's in spite of her and not because of her, that's fine, but the growth is there in the midst of the pandemic and whatnot. If you really want to break down her job performance during the pandemic, all you have to do is look at a side. You know what? Any metric that you want to look at from the right, all you have to do is look at a side-by-side of her and LaToya Trell, excuse me. I'll stop messing that up eventually. Or will I? Damn it. Okay. Well, then let's hope I have an 8:15 guest. Who's that on hold? Is that Lauren? Okay. No, Governor Kant is an impossibility. No, she's hated outside of New Orleans. She's not very well liked in New Orleans. I don't know how she won re-election. I really don't. But everything that Sharon Weston Broome did during the pandemic, all you have to do is look down the road and see how much infinitely worse it was as far as shutting down. Sharon never shut down businesses that the governor didn't shut down. She followed along state guidelines across the board. I'm hard-pressed to and I know Condon likes to rip on her, and that's fine. But, like, show me anything outside of, well, you know she wanted to. Shut up. You don't know. You don't know. You like to assume, but you don't know. Show me anything she actually did that was worse than what was handed down from above. Masks in city parish buildings after the mask mandate was lifted? Okay.
Bringing you the news you can use with Brian Kilmeade and common sense for your dollars and cents with Dave Ramsey. Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
This week is starting out chilly. Temperatures today will only warm into the mid-60s with mostly sunny skies. Then tonight, temperatures will fall into the upper 30s. Tuesday morning will be cold, but the afternoon will be much more comfortable with temperatures near 70 degrees on Mardi Gras Day. On Wednesday morning, temperatures will be near 40 degrees before warming again into the low 70s. The second half of the week will be much warmer with overnight lows near 50 degrees and afternoon highs in the upper 70s. Rain returns to the forecast over the weekend with temperatures climbing into the 80s.
738, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along about midway through with hour number 2, and we've got a lot more ground to cover before we're done today. So, every Monday we check in with the folks over at Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, and we do that now as well. Lauren Gleason is with us. Lauren heads up education and workforce development over at LABI. Lauren, good morning. Welcome aboard. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Happy Lundi Gras. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and happy Lundi Gras to you as well. I say I'm doing great. We did 3 parades all in a row yesterday, and I am just I'm wiped. I'm not ready for tomorrow.
know.
So
I can hear you. I know my voice is like a little hoarse. I've been in Lafayette, that's where I'm from, and so we're doing a little bit of the Mardi Gras festivities here, and I've been hollering a lot.
imagine that. It's what we do, though, right? It's
I know,
the
right?
only
It's
way
the
to get
best.
through. So we got a lot of ground to cover because we're less than a month away from the regular legislative session. And there's going to be a lot on your plate specifically with education priorities within the session. What are some of the education priorities within the session?
Of course, I'd love to chat about that. So, look, we are working on a lot of different things around education and workforce development. And so, education reform is something we always fight for. And I think just to start, a lot of people ask me, I get this question. As the State Chamber of Commerce, obviously education is important, but why do you guys fight so hard in this space? And I think just to start off, education reform is great because it really increases accountability and competition. It provides choices and options for parents and families, and it also helps with the workforce gap. So all things that we really care about and are excited about. And one of those things that I wanted to start off with are ESAs, or what people call education savings accounts. And this is a really cool model that essentially they work by giving parents the budgeted public dollar amount for their child to then take and use in whatever way they see fit to best educate their child. So that can mean a lot of different things. It can mean sending them to another school or supplementing their current schooling with tutoring or other educational services. It can mean buying books or other educational materials. The point here is flexibility. But of course, there are strict parameters put into place so that way, they can't spend the funds or unrelated activities. But ultimately, we think that these ESAs really empower families by giving them full authority over their kids' education. So as you can imagine, they might be somewhat controversial, but I really think that this is the wave of the future in education, and there's so many different models. You can tailor them to different programs. There's some for certain populations that we'll be especially supporting, and one of those is special education kids. And then there's another ESA geared towards military and foster families and those who have been denied school choice. You can imagine families that have a little bit harder time than your average folks finding, the best educational fit for their kids. So ESAs are a really big thing that we're really excited about.
ESAs are interesting because they present obstacles from both the right and the left. From the left, you're going to be told that you're destroying public schools.
Right.
So how do you? And we'll address the obstacle from the right in a minute. But how do you fight that one?
I think, when we deal with folks from the left, we try to make it about kids and not about systems. I think the arguments can easily get tailored towards something personal or about you're taking or you're messing with public schools. I think the thing is it actually saves money on the MFP side, right? Because you're pulling some of those public funds and giving them directly to the families. And I think what we try to make the argument about is not necessarily the public schools that are failing, which also is an issue. I think it's more about what are the options can we offer for kids? And I think, in Louisiana, we've been at the bottom of the row or the bottom of the list on education for how long now? And at this point, I think to just stifle innovation and new ideas is just silly to me. And so I think at this point, it's like we got to try something new. We got to be innovative here with our kids, and let's try all the options, all the things in the tool chest. Let's throw it out there and see what works. And so I think for us, we're always just about pushing forward for families and for parents and just trying to give them all the options that they could possibly, use.
From the right, and I know this is going to sound like it's coming out of left field, well, for this particular analogy, coming out of right field. How is an education savings account not just a straight-up redistribution of wealth?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And I think it's different in that these funds are really left up to the parent. And so the money's going back into the economy. It's going, whether it's tutoring, whether it's educational materials, whether it's using it at a different school. The money is still spent on education here in our state. Mm-hmm. And so I think for us, we try to focus on that as well. And, the accountability piece, that aspect, it's held to a different standard there. And so I think for us, it's what makes it so great is that it's not just like money free flowing. It's really tailored, and the way you write the programs, especially, you have to focus it in on exactly what it is you want that to be.
But you get where the argument comes from, though, right? You're not taxing people and then turning those taxes over to a department. You're taxing people and turning those funds over to people.
Right.
It's an interesting spot. Yeah, and It was brought up to me because I like the idea of an education savings account. I would love to have an education savings account. As a parent of 3 private Catholic school children, this would benefit me greatly. But when proposed to me in that manner, it was, oh gosh, yes, that is weird, isn't it? Go ahead. What else is on y'all's plate?
Yeah, so a lot of stuff that we're looking around workforce development area as well. We're looking at some partnerships with charter schools. So I'm sure, as you know, there are such things, there's such charter schools called corporate partnership charter schools.
Yes.
And so we work with the Louisiana Association of Public Charter Schools, and we're looking at allowing those partnership charters to apply directly to the State Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. So as you can imagine, we've got a few, the charter law has actually been into effect for quite a while here in Louisiana. It just hasn't been utilized. And so we think this could be a great economic development tool as we're trying to lure businesses and companies here. You know, they always say, okay, I'm going to come here. Where am I going to send my kids to school? To bring it up again, we're last on the education rung, so they're not super thrilled about that. We think that this really gives companies a different option. I actually myself, we were touring a few of these charters. We went to Basis, which is with Women's Hospital out in Baton Rouge earlier last week.
Off of Florida?
It really is. Yes.
Oh,
it's such
beautiful.
An amazing model. I mean, oh my gosh, you walk in the door and you're like in a different world. It's so fantastic. And so we really think that these corporate partnership charter schools are a really great thing. We want to continue to invest in this model and have other businesses and folks that we're trying to lure here see the benefit, and also the benefit, again, another great option for choice for families to send their kids to schools like that.
Lauren Gleason's our guest. She heads up education and workforce development for the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Lauren, I got to step away from the legislative agenda for just a second and ask you a question that I don't know what the right answer is to, but want LABI's perspective. Okay. How far into workforce development should elementary school education go? And I'll give you a perfect example here. You've heard of that Helix Academy that's it's basically a flight school or teaching kids about aviation.
Right.
I saw another sign on Nicholson for Helix to have a legal academy. Mm-hmm. At what point does specialization at too young of an age become a problem?
That's a really great question. I don't know if I have the answer, but I honestly think that the sooner we start talking with kids and encouraging that conversation with families to sort of talk about the workforce aspect, I think that that's important. And yeah, I don't know, K through 3, I don't know if that's the appropriate time there, but I definitely think that's something that LABI thinks is really great. And honestly, now that you mentioned it, there's actually an ESA that we're sort of looking at to try to encourage dual enrollment. And so the model that we're kind of looking at here is any public high school student would be eligible and they can opt in and use their funds to sort of pay for AP, dual enrollment, or CTE. So we're still working on some of those details, but in that way, I think that encourages and pushes students to sort of think sooner and sooner about preparing for college and the workforce, whatever path is best for them. But we want to try to make that conversation happen sooner with families, and I think having that discussion earlier, especially in high school, I think 9th grade, 10th grade, that really is something that folks need to be talking about with their families. And even myself, I think sometimes I got to go to a great private school in Lafayette, Louisiana, and had a great education. But I definitely think I could have benefited from having that conversation sooner with my family and with, counselors at school about what my future career aspirations look like. And so I definitely think that there's room there to start that conversation sooner, especially in the early high school years.
No, absolutely, there's room. Yeah, I've walked down this path with Cito Narcisse in the past. Because there's a lot more workforce development going into Baton Rouge schools, and it all looks very, very positive. But I don't know where the line is drawn to say these are children, and a lot of kids don't know. A lot of kids don't know at 25 what they want to do for the rest of their life, much less 13.
Totally fair.
What else is on the plate? We got about 2.5 minutes left with Lauren Gleason from LABI. What else y'all got?
Sure. And so we're looking at a couple other things specifically around workforce. One of those everyone keeps talking about is the nursing workforce shortage. I think sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect between the clinical medical side of things and then, they have the workforce pipeline training side of things. And so we've been meeting with a bunch of stakeholders to try to think through some creative ideas, how we can be of help there. And then another thing we're looking at is called reverse transfer agreements. So this is sort of a really neat model where our four-year institutions work well with our community and technical colleges. Right now these agreements are supported and encouraged in Louisiana, but we really want to make sure that this is a priority for our 2- and 4-year institutions. So basically, learners transfer from a 2-year to a 4-year, and they continue their education prior to earning an associate's degree. Now, as you can imagine, not everyone always goes on to earn their bachelor's degree, and then they drop out and end up with not any type of degree or credential at all. So with this sort of reverse transfer policy, these learners can earn an associate's degree from the two-year institution, sort of when the combination of their coursework from both institutions meets the necessary requirements. So you're sort of helping those folks, maybe later learners who are going back to school or folks that had to drop out for whatever reason, but trying to just encourage those folks to get back into the system. And if they can go ahead and earn that associate's degree or credential, let's go ahead and give them that, get them plugged in, and that might help them, get into the workforce sooner, have earnings and attainment. And I think it sort of overall strengthens the workforce of the state. So just some exciting things that we're working on, and education and workforce are going to be big topics for sure.
No, absolutely. And everything aside from the education savings account sounds like it would have just consensus behind it. Have you run into the pushback from any of these other objectives?
Yeah, not too bad. Education savings accounts are just controversial by nature because of what they are. And I think, honestly, the gold standard, which is going to maybe sound crazy, is universal ESA, right? Every kid in every public high school gets an ESA. But I think Louisiana, we're a little bit away from that. There's a lot of things that have to be put into place. We need good third parties to run the programs, a lot of education around the state for families. And so I definitely think, in Louisiana, we're always just a little bit behind. And so we're doing our best to try to catch folks up and really educate people about the future of education and sort of what we think that looks like.
She is Lauren Gleason with LABI. We appreciate your time this morning. Have a happy Mardi Gras.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. You as well.
Absolutely. We'll get you back on as session rolls around. Right now, let's hit your money now. Yeah! Oh. What? Dude, so I think I was the victim of a prank. Well, I had left my laptop open out here and logged on, and I was down the hall. This was a week ago Friday, and I was down the hall recording stuff for the weekend, right? And as I got back up, as I got back to my website, I noticed that there was a form filled out for a website that assists men who struggle in certain areas. Dude, I've gotten 6 phone calls from local numbers, and I'm like, no, please put me on the do not call list. I don't look. I'll hang on to your number in case I need you one day, but it ain't today, boss. I mean, my fault for leaving my laptop open for sure. But do I? I mean, props. The level of prank is awesome. Like, full credit. Because I've gotten a stack of emails over the course of a week, and I keep hitting unsubscribe, and it gets me nowhere. But shit. Unsubscribe just means we're going to ignore you. It's not real. I know, right? Who else's birthday? I don't know who that is. Oh. Oh, I didn't do my Wordle this morning. That's how far behind I am today. I didn't do my Wordle this morning. Ah, shit.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Boucher.
Baton Rouge police are investigating an accident Airline Highway at Goodwood, but the traffic camera in the area not really showing. A couple of cars kind of stuck in some extra delays this morning. Over in Sorrento, though, the interstate has been closed since before 5 a.m. A fatal crash occurring between Airline Highway and Sorrento. A rollover accident. One person has died. In the meantime, travel is pushed off the interstate while they continue to investigate and clear out the area. You can take Airline Highway northbound, get back on in Sorrento at 22, or continue on to
All right, yo. Let's see. What's good, YouTube? What else is going on, y'all? Just enjoying your Lundy Gras, I assume. Anybody got plans for tomorrow? What y'all doing tomorrow? $7:55 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 2 of Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Thanks again to Lauren Gleason. Did I call her Lauren Graham during the segment? Okay, because that would have been that's an actress, right? Yeah, that would have been bad. Thanks again to Lauren Gleason with LABI. It's been I'm in a fog all morning long. Did 3 parades in a row yesterday, back to back to back. I might even be sunburned. I don't know. Mardi Gras, y'all. It should just the whole week, like Monday through Wednesday, not the whole week. Give me Monday through Wednesday as just state holiday. Let's all go home. We'll reconvene on Thursday. We'll hammer out 2 strong days, and then we're back at it. What's wrong with that? It's like having the day after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. I mean, there's people still sleeping off Spanish Town. That was 2 days ago. All right. I believe we're scheduled to speak with Dr. Cade Brumley in our 8 o'clock hour. We've had a couple of scheduling snafus this morning. So hopefully that one doesn't get lost in the wash as well. Also, next hour, we're going to hear from Avi Loeb. Avi is an astronomer at Harvard University. Sounds very prestigious. Sounds very smart. My boy's wicked smart. Here's the thing, though. He wrote a book called Extraterrestrial. He believes we've been in contact with alien life forms. And he's at Harvard. This isn't like some kind of coast-to-coast George Norrie, Art Bell sort of thing. It's a Harvard guy saying this. That's next hour as well. Right now, it's time for us to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish with the Outside In. Is that it over there? Going to start off at Ascension Parish. Members of the Sunrise Community Group held a march Sunday afternoon after 5 people were shot, 2 of them killed since the first of the year in a town where years go by without any murders. Following the march, dozens gathered for a rally at the African American Museum's Rosenwald School. Community leaders, including the mayor, spoke at the rally, saying the violence must stop. The mayor said, quote, "We need to build on this and let people know in the city of Donaldsonville enough's enough when it comes to the crime we've had here." But Mayor Sullivan and the Sunrise Community Group know when it comes to stopping the violence, they can't do it alone. They're urging residents to join in on the fight to stop the violence. In St. Charles Parish, a drunk driver intentionally ran into a fully marked sheriff's office unit while speeding away from a crime scene, deputies say. According to the sheriff's office, 62-year-old Richard Lapine Jr. was speeding away from a home on Michael Street in Ama around 8 p.m. Saturday when deputies tried to stop his car. Deputies said Lapine Jr. intentionally ran into the deputy's fully marked SUV during that pursuit. He was taken into custody on Pat's Court, nearly a mile from where the chase started. Charged with aggravated criminal damage to property, aggravated flight from an officer, domestic abuse battery, DWI, reckless operation, resisting arrest, and simple arson for setting his trailer on fire in the 100 block of Michael Street. He's having a bad night. Over to Livingston Parish, deputies arrested a man wanted in a string of vehicle and structure burglaries after an active search Sunday. The Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office pursued 40-year-old Justin Dooley on Sunday morning near the intersection of Jubin and Florida. Sheriff Jason Ard announced around 10 a.m. there was a large law enforcement presence in the area searching for the potentially armed burglary suspect who fled into the woods. Shortly after 11, the Sheriff's Office announced Dooley was located and apprehended on Florida Boulevard, now in custody, awaiting charges. That is the outside in. We are done with hour number 2. Well, right after we get this legal ID, taking you into CBS News. Oh! Had some good poke yesterday, too. Like, I love me some South Fin over there off Perkins, so I don't normally stray away from that, but we were in at the Clearview Shopping Center. And they got a Five Guys right next to Poke Loa. And, yeah, it was really good. Although, straight fire. Because I like a little spicy. A little spicy. The hottest jalapenos I've ever had in my life. It was absurd how hot these jalapenos were. It took me a good 20 minutes to get my face under control. And I had like the sriracha on top of it as well, like stirred into it. We got zoodles, which going to be healthier to have the zucchini instead of noodles, but honestly, when you want to soak up the spices, get yourself some get yourself some brown rice. Dirty rice. That'd be funny. Anybody watching Righteous Gemstones, and every time you hear the name Keeve, do you think of Kelvin's friend Keith? Happy Lundy Gras, Byron. Oh, cool, yeah. NOLA is happening. You down? Hey, are you down there? Are you in New Orleans right now? And were you down there yesterday? And I know he's not in the chat today, but shout out to my guy, Sonny Weathers. Got to see Sonny in Toth yesterday. He was on Float 37. We got to catch him, and it's always so tough when you know somebody on the float because you don't know if they're going to see you. Throngs of people screaming. Sonny we were able to connect. Threw a ton of beads to us in a very short period of time. It was awesome. My guy hooked us up. He's probably sleeping it off all day today, for sure. All right. Get some coffee, dude. Oh, dude, today's Wordle was easy. Took me 4 guesses. Huh. All right. Well. Boop, bop, ba-doop, bop, boop. What? Okay. It's something I could take a look at in the log. It might be my fault. It's
never like usually after traffic I immediately get whatever's next. Fortunately, I've never had like I always give it a second.
well, look. Somebody wants to buy a 5-second spot. I'm gonna sell them a 5-second spot. Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Working out to see if we've got a guest in our next segment or not. Okay. Dr. Cade Brumley slated to join us shortly. He'll be in our next segment. And then Avi Loeb, author of the book Extraterrestrial. He's a Harvard astronomer. Astronomer. And believes we've already made contact with aliens. He fully understands the blowback you get when you say such things. It's a fantastic conversation. I got to speak with him late last week. We were supposed to have that interview for you on Friday, but we had Councilman Aaron Moak in talking about the Metro Council. There was a proposal last week to increase the BRPD legal fees budget by $80,000. That proposal failed to pass for multiple reasons. Aaron Moak broke it down for us, and the conversation had to spill over into a second segment because there was so much to unpack on so many different levels. If you missed it, it's available on demand at talk1073.com, and it was like great conversation. Great conversation because really getting to the root of what went down. In the meanwhile, and sorry, give me 1 second, y'all. Doing a little logistics. All right. In the meanwhile, why don't I just start the next segment and then send the text message I'm trying to send? I mean, you handle this segment. It's time for Jake to handle this day in history.
Yes, it is time for This Day in History. We're kicking things off in 1827, the first commercial railroad in U.S. It was from Baltimore and Ohio. It was chartered on this day in 1827. Moving things on, in 1849, the first boatload of gold rush prospectors arrives in San Francisco from the East Coast. It was the beginning of the gold rush.
No.
What?
No.
What are you telling me no for?
If they went from the East Coast to the West Coast, they likely did not take a boat.
Yeah, probably not, but that's what it said.
It wasn't a boatload.
A lot. They took a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Yes.
It probably enough to fill a boat.
Wagon train?
A wagon train load?
Wagon train, you think?
Nah.
It's kind of like Oregon Trail. You have died of dysentery? You haven't.
1854.
Sure.
The Republican Party formally organized in Wisconsin. 1882, the first U.S. college cooperative store opens at
In
Harvard University.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
Interesting.
Well, didn't the Republican and Democratic parties like flipped, didn't they, at one point?
No, don't buy that narrative. No, no.
Okay, I'm just questioning. 1904, football club Benfica was founded in Lisbon, Portugal.
What?
Huh?
What?
What you mean?
What?
Soccer club. Does that
No.
make-
What's it? Fecal? What?
Benfica. Benfica.
Wow.
Benfica.
Be careful with that poop.
Eesh. 1909, first National Women's Day is observed in the United States, organized by the Socialist Party of America in honor of the 1908 garment workers' strike in New York, where women protested against working conditions. 1933, the first female U.S. cabinet. Frances Perkins appointed Secretary of Labor.
Yeah.
1940, the first televised basketball game. U of Pitts beats Fordham U 50-37. Yeesh.
Okay.
That's a blockbuster.
I mean, I had the under.
I mean, yeah, that's a safe bet.
Jeez, 'em.
1959, NFL trade. Chicago Cards trade Ollie Matson for LA Rams for 9 players. 1 player for 9.
Yeah.
That's just bizarre to me, honestly.
Not a whole lot going on today.
No,
Pulling
but
out
really-
trades for people I've never heard of.
There really isn't a lot going on today.
All right.
1983, the final TV episode of MASH.
There
is on
you
CBS. It's a record 125 million viewers watching the U.S.
What's the only televised experience to beat it?
Televised experience?
Yes. It wasn't the season finale or anything, a series finale or anything like that, but only one thing has beaten it.
Ooh, that's beaten it?
Yep.
I couldn't tell you.
Who dat, baby? 2010 Super Bowl.
Ah, fair enough. 2013. This is a bizarre one. It's not even like I doubt you've ever heard of this, but it's crazy that this happened. 2013. The brains of 2 rats successfully connected so they share information.
Like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
ESP type stuff? That's weird.
Something like that.
All right.
So yeah, that's all the.
Wait, how do you know? Who knows?
I don't know, man.
Like one rat looks at another like, you think what I'm thinking?
Jeez.
Yeah. But how did the brain of the human connect with the brain of rats to know that the brain of the rats were connected?
I could not tell you, but it happened 9 years ago. Excuse me.
Oh,
on this
that's
day.
there needs to be a Netflix doc on this one.
1,000%.
Hey, this day in 1993 was the Elk Siege, the storming of the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas, where the followers of David Koresh blew themselves up while the FBI and ATF were trying to serve warrants.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Quite something.
Yeah.
A lot happening in Waco on this day.
Yeah.
Birthdays. The Don. Luka Doncic turns 23. Happy birthday to him.
Okay.
Jason Aldean is 45.
All right.
Gilbert Gottfried is 67. Love that man. Love his voice.
He's so good.
And finally, Alex Caruso is 28.
Who?
Alex Caruso.
Who's he?
The Bald Mamba.
The Bald Mamba?
Yeah, man. He's former LA Laker.
Oh, the Bulls guard!
Yeah,
the Bulls
current
guard!
Bulls player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all the birthdays I got. What you got for me?
Mario Andretti,
Heard that name.
Adrian Dantley, and throw it back to this year's Super Bowl by going back to the last time the Bengals were in a Super Bowl. Icky Woods, born on this day in 1966.
Happy birthday to all those mentioned. I didn't have any deaths to report, but let's get right to the holidays.
All right.
Happy Mardi Gras season, first off, to everybody listening. It is International Sword Swallowers Day.
Gross. It's Lundy Gras.
It is Lundy Gras.
Lundy Gras.
Do you want me to
We're in the deep Gras phase of this now, so you call it like it's actual Lundy Gras. Tomorrow's Mardi Gras.
Fair enough.
We're outside of the season part now.
There you
Last
go.
weekend, like before last weekend, it was still season.
And then finally, it's National Public Sleeping Day.
Yeah.
We were getting close there.
Yeah.
But that is this day in history.
All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I believe we are slated to have Dr. Cade Brumley up next.
How do you make the best burgers and bad burgers even better? With an extra serving of convenience. Get the Booyah app today and start earning rewards towards free burgers.
I don't know why I was thinking Alex Caruso played baseball, and it just wasn't triggering with me. Yeah. There we go. Thank God. Oh, man, so tired. Oh, man. I went by Mathern's before the game on Saturday. 100% sold out of king cakes. I know. No, I'm sorry. I went by on Friday after my weigh-in. And they were 100% sold out of king cakes. And I'm like, job well done. I've been pushing the hell out of king cakes. Denise says if he decides to run, Cassidy would no doubt win. That's an interesting take, Denise. D nice. How did I miss that comment? It's showing up in my... Anna says 5-hour energy. Okay, Lundy Grove. Byron says, good to see the city back. Been here since Friday. I know. I got down there and realized very quickly when I was worried about the crime, I stopped buying headlines. Like, there was a shooting at the Mall of Louisiana on Friday. Do I feel any more or less safe today as a result of that? I do not. I feel exactly the same. Same is true. You're not going to hear about every square block of New Orleans where there wasn't a carjacking. Do I need to approve this comment or something? Highlighted comment. 816 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. So every month we get to get caught up with our state superintendent of education. This month we get to do it twice. Why? Because we meet on the first Tuesday of the month. Well, it just so happens that the first Tuesday of March is Mardi Gras Day. So, getting in on Lundy Gras is Dr. Cade Brumley. Dr. Brumley, welcome back. How are you, sir?
Thanks for having me, Brian. No. You know I'm a North Louisiana guy, so we have to settle up with your mild aggression last week against North Louisiana parades and Cowboys fans.
Oh, no. Well, first of all, I'm not wrong. But secondly...
Oh, you are wrong. That's the problem.
What?
You are wrong. That's the problem.
Are you kidding me?
I'm a lifetime Saints fan, you know, a bag over my head for a large portion of that time. But there's this wild misconception that everyone in North Louisiana are all Cowboys fans, which is just completely inaccurate.
So, to be fair, most of that is trying to give Jacob Hester poop. That's all that is. Because he'll run up and down the halls with his 31831 great all day long, and I have to kind of give it right back to him. So
I understand. Now, granted, there are Cowboys fans, and I would say, you know, years ago more so, but you know, certainly since the 2000s, I would say that has really shifted towards Saints fans more than most people recognize.
Imagine that. A bunch of Cowboys fans in the 90s, a bunch of Saints fans in the 2000s. Who would have...
Bandwagon, right?
I mean,
bandwagon.
You know, whichever way the wind is blowing is fine. Although you do come to the state job from Jefferson Parish.
That is right. Right.
On this Lundy Gras, we have to, you know, pour one out for the now defunct crew of Zeus.
I am well versed from all corners of the state, both north and south of I-10.
You got Mardi Gras plans tomorrow, or you just chill a little bit?
We're gonna see what happens. All
right. In the meanwhile, we've got a lot of ground to cover as there are actual topics out there now. I want to get into literacy and I want to get into the Fast Forward Initiative, but there's no way I don't start with the social studies standards and where we are right now.
Yeah, great. Look, our administration has put out a set of recommendations on standards about 3 weeks ago that we wanted to get final public feedback on, and we had those open for public feedback for a few weeks. And now we believe we're set with a draft set of standards that are going to our board as a recommendation next week. This has been a process that has lasted about a year and a half, and it is one of the hardest things in this country to do right now, is to put forward a set of social studies standards and actually get them across the finish line. And many states have not been successful in doing that, and so we think we're in a pretty good position. Our standards, I think I've called them a freedom framework. I expressed this before with you. To me, the American spirit has always been, about a quest for freedom, whether it was the initial desires for independence or removal from slavery or women's suffrage, and so we think they're really good. We tell the whole story of our country. A few things I think are really neat that I think your audience might appreciate knowing. We took a different approach to second and third grade. We converted second and third grade moving forward to really a foundational story of U.S. history, and we're really calling it U.S. history, people, papers, and places. So students in second and third grade will really get foundational knowledge on the some of the most important people in our history, some of the most important places, and we're also saying papers, which means documents as well as speeches. So our goal there is for our young learners to get a really good basis of U.S. history. I think another exciting thing is in civics, we've added financial responsibility, financial literacy as a civic responsibility. So many individuals graduate from school without a basic set of knowledge on how to handle finances and why that's important. So we've made an addition there. And just throughout the set of standards, we think they're really good. We think they're really balanced, and we happen to think they hold the promise to be the best in the country.
One of the hindrances or hesitations towards teaching everything, good, the bad, and the ugly about our nation's history, is that it will be viewed through modern times perspective and not in the time and place when it happened. How do you incorporate the overall picture of where the world was at the time?
Yeah, you're asking a contextual question, and that's why I think it's important. One of the things that we have done with this new set of standards is we wanted to make sure that we told the story of history in a congruent, cohesive way, so that as students experience these stories, as students experience these readings, that they're hearing it in a timeline that makes sense. So, for instance, you'll hear what happened in 1700, and then you'll hear what happened in 1725 or 1750. And right now, unfortunately, with the way that this works in with many of our standards and in our classrooms, is that's really not told in a coherent way. And so students may not have background information. So what we've tried to do here is, one, make sure that we've corrected the sequence of the story of our country and of our state, but also we've increased the rigor of the standards, as well as incorporating multiple historical perspectives.
Dr. Cade Brumley is our guest. We're talking about social studies standards, among other things. Actually, Dr. Brumley, we need to keep it moving a little bit because there's a lot of ground to cover. And I want to make sure we save some room on the back end for the Hurricane Preparedness Commission. Let's talk literacy a little bit right now. When you talk about the potential of social studies standards leading the nation, where are we at with literacy right now?
Well, we're certainly not leading the nation in terms of proficiency in literacy. For too long, I think we've taken reading for granted. We've just assumed that our kids would learn how to read, and that hasn't been the case. And so one of the things that we have wanted to do over the last couple of years is just really call out the crisis that we have in reading, and we've had for some time. And so we have done that, and then we've had support from our state board members. We've had support from legislators, and certainly from teachers and leaders and systems to try and do better. And we have a strategy around reading at this point, and the things that we need to do to get better. I'll tell you, every year by state law, we have to capture reading levels of our kids in elementary school in the fall of the year. Last year, 2 years ago, fall of 2020 versus fall of 21, we've actually seen a 4-point increase. So hopefully that indicates that kids in our schools are making some level of a comeback from the pandemic and the hurricanes.
With that referencing the pandemic and the hurricanes, I mean, we've got a pretty clear picture of how far everybody was set back at this point, right?
Yeah, so we know that our kids lost about, on average, 5 points of proficiency across the board, across content areas, and so our work now is to not just recover that as quickly as possible, but then accelerate.
And with that, we're about to start seeing advancements in digital infrastructure, especially. In fact, the vice president was supposed to be in Sunset, Louisiana on Friday, making a big announcement. How quickly can we take announcements like that and incorporate them into the educational curriculum as well?
Well, our office is the one that initially financed through federal dollars the Internet and Infrastructure Office here in the state, the first one of those. I'll tell you that I believe that the best place for our kids to be is physically face-to-face in their schools. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we can't turn an eye to technology and much of the promise that holds. And so we have to, walk and chew gum at the same time here. We need to make sure that, to all extents possible, our kids are in school every day, face-to-face, good attendance, good behavior, good grades, but also think about what are our opportunities through technology to continue to get better.
Got Dr. Cade Brumley for a few more minutes. We're talking about education and the state of education within our state right now. I love checking in on the Fast Forward Initiative. Actually, I was talking with Lauren Gleason from LABI in our last hour about how far education can go into workforce development and where the line is. I know we're nowhere near it yet, but is there a line that shouldn't be crossed when it comes to educating kids and just creating a workforce?
Well, I believe that our kids, if they graduate on May 15th, on May 16th, they need to be ready to do something.
Yeah.
Whether that's having a full apprenticeship, whether that's having an associate's degree, whether it's having a coherent set of courses to a 4-year degree, we just have to do better. And I understand the point that you're making. It's a valid point that we don't want our kids locked into a career as an 8th grader. But at the same time, if you think about the workforce today, other than highly specialized occupations, most of the skills that workers need are transferable. So if you're teaching students how to critically think, how to understand and have logic, how to work with others, I believe that most of those skills are transferable.
And where are we at with the Fast Forward Initiative right now?
We're really excited. We see a lot of movement in systems throughout the state, but we know we have a long way to go. We are asking systems throughout the state to rethink that high school experience. One of the things that most recently we have done, we set out what we called our Reimagine grant program, where systems could think of any idea in education that they think has the promise to change outcomes for our state that have so long lagged. And one of the areas where we are thankfully going to fund a number of systems throughout the state is just different ways to do high school, so that it is more of a personalized experience for students. So it is an opportunity for our kids to graduate with apprenticeships, or for them to graduate with a coherent set of courses that lead to a degree, or furthermore, just a complete elevation of career and technical education, the vocational crafts, where students can get a job tomorrow if they were to graduate today.
You've worked with EBR Superintendent Cito Narcisse on this one a good bit, and he's shown great results already. How easy or difficult is it to turn the boat in the water, as it were, to refocus on things within this program when it comes to our public schools? How streamlined can we get towards the future?
Yeah, if you just think about career and technical education, we didn't just diminish that overnight. We have decades of diminishing vocational crafts in our state and telling people if you do a career education option, you're lesser than. And so that takes a lot of work on the communication side, both with kids and families. But what we believe is that if you give students and parents options, a menu of options, whether it's dual enrollment, advanced placement, apprenticeships, internships, we believe that those parents and students are going to pick the options that make the most sense for them, and that's what we're trying to do.
What's the latest with the Hurricane Preparedness Commission?
I was on this job a couple of years ago for the first time, and 3 months in, we got slammed by Laura. So we're in the middle of a pandemic, and Laura hits, and so I look and I'm like, hand me the playbook for hurricanes. And people look at you like, what playbook? And so what we're trying to do is create a playbook for systems when they get hit by hurricanes, so that is minimized to all extents possible, and they can recover as quickly as they can. That commission had its first meeting a couple of weeks ago, which was introductory. The next meeting will be held in March. We're hosting this hurricane commission. We've launched it, and the topic for March is the things that systems should be doing in the off season. And what I mean is the non-hurricane season to be ready for hurricane season. So we're trying to collect best practices. We're going to handle off season. We're going to handle in the run up to the storm, during the storm, and the immediate aftermath. And our goal is to be able to put forward a playbook for systems throughout the state to have so that they can better tackle weather events such as a hurricane in the future.
It's such a weird spot because the first 2 months of hurricane season, which are traditionally the quietest months in Louisiana, are also summertime. So schools are kind of, we get slow played into a lull there, don't we?
Yeah, but I mean, think about Laura. You know, Laura hit, I believe it was late August, and then October, Delta basically follows the same path coming in and hits southwest Louisiana. So it is something that it's almost like you get school up and going, and then hurricane season is upon you, like you said. And so our goal is to have a playbook in place prior to the beginning of the hurricane season for schools this year.
Well, that's where we're going to have to call it for today. We will reconvene, well, not next month, actually, in the beginning of April. In the meanwhile, have yourself a great Mardi Gras. He is Dr. Cade Brumley, heads up, he's the superintendent of schools for Louisiana. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Superintendent of education. My bad on that one. So, yeah, I deserve that, coming in with a little bit about Shreveport. It's fair. I don't push back. He's not wrong. A lot going on, though. That Fast Forward initiative, I will continue to unpack that on a regular basis because it's such a great program. And Dr. Brumley, now that he's got his feet under him, is doing a great job. Here's news. Where was Judy? Erg. Did she leave? Wow, that's gone. Oh, snap. All right. Got a pre-recorded interview coming your way after news, traffic, and weather, so it's going to look real weird. I'm not going to be talking. I'll be back in just a second. Anna and Condon gave him. So if Judy comes back up, she's going to want to give us more.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $170 with the purchase of 4 eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Here's a message from Dr. Klein at the Children's Hospital of New Orleans.
There was a myth that somehow children were almost immune to COVID. Our hospital was full of children who were quite ill. Unfortunately, we did have deaths here at the hospital. If we can get enough adults, adolescents, children vaccinated, we will work our way out of this pandemic.
Call 1-855-453-0774 and visit ldh.la.gov/kidsvax.
COVID-19 has put a strain on teachers, school employees, and their students. It has killed over 15,000 people in Louisiana and caused long-term social and emotional damage to our children. We must prioritize.
Oh, shit. I have an interview at 9:20.
Educators who serve them. Increasing our vaccination rate will help, but we also need to increase the funding to support mental health services, staff retention and recruitment, and remediation programs to help students catch up. We see how important
Do what?
these are.
Yeah, I'm going to run upstairs and print out the email. Former CIA operative. I know.
But when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So instead, we're going to have someone else say it. Because for some reason, when a random person
God, that bread is so good.
something is in a commercial, it's more believable.
Anything that's doused in condensed milk is amazing.
And there you have it. I mean, I'm not sure why she's more believable than me, but either way, you get the point about the saving. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Come be part of the best party in town, the Zurich Classic. Meet up with friends at Patino's Lounge or other specialty drink outlets on the golf course. Or grab a bite from 10 New Orleans restaurants while watching the greatest golfers in the world playing in the only two-man team event on the PGA Tour. And stick around for live music after play. It's fun, it's exciting, and it benefits children's charities in Louisiana. That's golf our way.
All right, let's see if anybody else sounded off on my, Nope.
Take a deeper dive into the stories that are important to you with a Fox News Rundown. Weekday mornings at 9
Weird.
on Talk 106.
I've got like no views on my latest TikTok. It's weird. It is time to turn our eyes upward towards space. It is time to talk extraterrestrials. Actually, we're talking extraterrestrial, the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth. Joined right now by the author of that book, Avi Loeb. Avi, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on here. Glad to be talking about this because this is one of those ones that, we see in sci-fi all the time. So when does sci-fi turn into just the sci end of it? Actually, you know what? Before we get started, happy early birthday coming up Saturday.
Thank you. And by the way, you probably know that I don't like science fiction so much because very often the storyline violates the laws of physics.
Yes.
But I did have an interview about a month ago with William Shatner, and the person who played Captain Kirk on USS Enterprise in Star Trek. And I told him, look, you are the best person to understand my point of view. I mean, you played Captain Kirk on this spaceship for so long, and obviously, I mean, half a year ago, you went on a real space trip. And he said yes. And I said, well, it was probably a very different experience between the virtual reality of Star Trek and the actual reality of going to space. And he completely agreed with me.
No, 100%. But for most of us, our only outlet is what we get to see in the movies and on TV and the Captain Kirks of the world. For that matter, William Shatner's entire life defies physics, but that's a whole other story. Let's talk about moving things into reality. Extraterrestrial, the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth. Break down the book for us a little bit. What did you see? What have you learned?
Right. So the book focuses on an object, the first object that we discovered from outside the solar system that came close to Earth. And we knew that it's from outside the solar system because it moved too fast to be bound to the sun. And at first, astronomers said, oh, yeah, it's probably just a comet of the type that we have seen in the solar system. But there was no cometary tail. There was no evaporation of gas or dust from it. And moreover, as it was tumbling every 8 hours, the amount of sunlight reflected from it changed by a factor of 10. So, and the way that the light varied implied that it's most likely flat, pancake-shaped. And it was also pushed away from the sun by some mysterious force. And because there was no evaporation, the only force I could think of was the reflection of sunlight. And all of this led me to suggest that maybe it's technological in origin. Maybe it's not a rock. And of course, that got a lot of pushback. So I talk about the anomalies of this object in my book and why scientists have a difficult time discussing this subject, which I find to be quite unfortunate because I think it belongs to the mainstream of science. We should search for technological equipment that came from other civilizations because we sent out Voyager, New Horizons, and if you think about it, in a billion years, if some extraterrestrial finds them, they would look like space trash, but they would still imply that we existed.
Author Avi Loeb is our guest. Avi, how do you sift through, because I completely agree, this should be talked about at the very least. How do you sift through the fantastical versus the possible?
There is a bridge between the two, and that's the scientific method, basically collecting evidence. So in science, we are guided by evidence, not by prejudice. That's what Galileo said to the philosophers at the time, 4 centuries ago. He said, look through my telescope and you would realize that the earth moves around the sun. And they said, no, we know that the sun moves around the earth. And by the way, you are now under house arrest. We don't want anyone to listen to you. So today they would have canceled him on social media. And my point is, reality is whatever it is. You know, we can decide not to look through our windows and claim that we don't have neighbors, but that will not get rid of our neighbors. So the best way to proceed to improve our knowledge is to collect data. And if there are intriguing objects out there, let's just get better data. Let's come close to them. Take a higher resolution image. It's not a philosophical question. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. In my case, a picture is worth 66,000 words. The number of words in my book, Extraterrestrial, I will need to write the book if I had an image to show everyone.
So, this happened in 2017 when scientists at a Hawaiian observatory glimpsed an object soaring through our inner solar system. This interaction or this sighting, how long did it last? What were you able to take away from it? I mean, how much data, how much hard information, scientific information can you extrapolate from this one instance?
So the unfortunate fact is that the astronomers believe that it's a natural object and as a result didn't collect as much data as was in principle possible to collect. And I hope that when we see another object like it, now that people are more alert to the implications, we will collect much more data. But I'm also head of the Galileo project that I established about half a year ago. And the goal, one of the main goals of the project is to design a space mission that will come close to the next Oumuamua. And we'll take a close-up photograph of it. And we are now working on the design of the mission that will do it. It will be quite expensive, this rendezvous, sort of like dating a person and liking the person, but then the person is gone, so you are trying to date the next person that looks like the original person. But this date with the next Oumuamua would be quite expensive.
Avi Loeb, top Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb is our guest, and we're talking about an interstellar visitor, if you will. Avi, how difficult is it to get everyone on the same page with the level of belief and possibility versus being dismissive of a potential interaction?
It's very difficult, and I'm really surprised by the fact that the government is establishing a new office that will start operations in June 2022 into the question of what is the nature of those unidentified aerial phenomena. So the government is putting money into it, and the government is the most conservative organization that we know about. And how come scientists in academia have an issue with making it part of the mainstream research? I find that surprising, and I very much hope it will change. That's one objective of the Galileo project, to bring it to the mainstream by collecting evidence and publishing in scientific journals.
Got a couple more minutes with Avi Loeb talking about extraterrestrial, the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth. What's the reception of the book been like so far?
Oh, it was quite amazing because since it came out a year ago, I had about 2,000 interviews, and it was very hectic. It's clear that the public and government care a lot about this subject. There is a lot of pushback in the academic community because a lot of people, prefer to not to take risks in academia and to basically explain anything that we find with the knowledge that we already have. And of course, extraordinary evidence requires extraordinary funding. That's my point, that without allocating resources to the search, we would never find new things. And it's a circular argument to say, oh, we don't have extraordinary evidence, therefore we should not even discuss it. The only way to get that extraordinary evidence is to invest in the search.
This incident in Hawaii, how is it different from other reported UFO sightings?
Oh, because the data was collected by scientists, by astronomers, and therefore we know exactly what the instruments were doing at the time the data was collected, and there were many telescopes seeing the same thing. And so it was just part of the scientific process. And the study of UFO was never part of the scientific process, and the Galileo project aims to change that as well. We are building telescope systems that will try to get more information about these unidentified aerial phenomena. And so I think, hopefully, Oumuamua was a wake-up call, and we will get much better data in the coming years. And it's sort of like going in a path that was not taken, and there is a chance that we will find some low-hanging fruit.
There's a chance. How much of a chance?
Oh, actually, yesterday I had a conversation with the head of science at NASA, Thomas Zurbuchen, and I asked him, do you think we will find intelligent life during our lifetime? And he said, what do you think, Avi? And he said, I don't know your age and how much time you have left. But I said, well, actually, I will turn 60 years old at the end of this week. And so he pulled his foot to the camera and showed me the socks that he has. And they had alien images on them. And that was very reassuring to me because I said to him, I'm quite confident that we will find signs of intelligent life out there, except in Washington, D.C. That's a place where I'm worried about because, unless we invest in the search, we will never find it.
I was waiting the entire interview for that punchline. He is Avi Loeb, top Harvard astronomer, author of Extraterrestrial. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
My pleasure.
Full disclosure, we did record that late last week. I don't like to do pre-recorded stuff without letting you know. Anyway, fascinating stuff, fascinating book. They sent me a PDF copy, which the hard part to take away is how long before this becomes real. And like I asked him about was, how do you get everybody looking for the same thing at the same time? Like what level of coordination is needed to make this reality or to document said reality. Anyway, that'll be available on demand at talk1073.com after the show today. So I'm going to be out tomorrow. Pamela Tessa, going to join us as she's going to fill in for me tomorrow. Looking to put together, see what she's got for a lineup. Also, we'll be right back at it on Ash Wednesday, where I can tell you there will be another recorded interview. Rick Prado, he's a former CIA officer. He's the author of Black Ops, The Life of a CIA Shadow Warrior. I've got the opportunity to talk with him later on today, and I'm a little bit fired up about it because he's the highest-ranking covert warrior to lift the veil of secrecy and offer a glimpse into the shadow wars that America's fought since the Vietnam era. And this plays so much in to what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and misinformation and disinformation. I can't wait to talk with Rick about this. It's should be a fascinating conversation, and we'll have it for you on Wednesday, as tomorrow I'll be off. All right, we got to take a quick break. Check your money now. Check traffic one more time. We will close it out next, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. I don't feel like doing anything else today. I'm not working tomorrow. Too much of this morning. Too much yawning and stretching, stretching and yawning. I know. Good Lord. Ah! Yeah, it is. I haven't been to my Rufino's in a minute. Yeah, many times. Oh, God, yeah. And it hasn't dropped off since Ruffin passed. So, I mean, the atmosphere is never going to be the same if he's not in the room, but the food and the service are wonderful. Hey, go ahead, pull up that SNL sketch again. We'll do like a minute of it. I'm gonna make this about COVID, and then we're gonna get out.
Haldane here. Let's talk groceries. As the Winn-Dixie on Burbank closes down, you might want to head back towards campus from the Thurns on Nicholson right across the
I've been following some slowdowns in Ascension Parish. Traffic is starting to improve, but a lane of travel still closed on the westbound side before Sorrento. The good news is Airline Highway northbound really started to clear out toward 22. Let's take you outside, check on our traffic camera here. Looks like all lanes are finally open. Earlier this morning, a fatal crash occurred in the
Yeah, right from the beginning. Just the first couple jokes.
See an accident reported at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbill. You can get up to $170
Do what? Yeah.
eligible Michelin tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Eight 55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One segment to go here on Mornings with Brian Haldane before we get out of here. Did you catch Saturday Night Live over the weekend? John Mulaney was the host for the millionth time in the last 3 seasons. It's crazy. He was a writer on the show and was very much a fantastic writer. But now it feels like they're getting him to host twice a season at this point. Any Hoosers. There was a sketch about having a conversation among friends about COVID and how uncomfortable the whole thing has gotten. I'm not going to have enough time to play back the whole thing, but Jake, if you could play a little bit of, they're sitting down for dinner at a restaurant and they're just happy to be out.
I'm so glad we're doing this. My favorite restaurant with my favorite people.
Honey, I agree 100%.
You know what? This is so fun. Dinner is on us.
Oh, wow. But, Keith, you know you can take your mask off at the table.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know I'm wearing it half the time.
Well, I heard the CDC is going to lift all mask mandates soon.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's so weird. It's like COVID's not over, but it's just going to stop. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of this article I read.
Oh, honey, no one wants to hear about that.
Well, it was in Bloomberg, and I thought it was interesting.
What article?
Well,
Honey.
it was just saying how mask mandates had, I don't know, little to no effect on COVID.
Shocked looks around as they go around. Anyway, the sketch goes on from there. We can pause it right there. The sketch goes on from there, and basically they make fun of the whole, every single narrative across the board is taboo to talk about in public. And honestly, I was shocked to see them go as far as they did with pooping on the narratives that we've been fed down. If you missed it, it's available on demand, I'm sure. We were grabbing enough of YouTube. But SNL did a really, really good job. John Mulaney specifically did a really, really good job of kind of exploring a path that nobody really likes to talk about in person. Everybody likes to sound off online. But face-to-face, the conversations that get everybody in trouble. Anyway, I use that as a launching point to tell you, we're down to 586 COVID patients in Louisiana as of Friday. Friday's numbers, 25 new deaths. Of course, we never want to see new deaths, but that number's down. 668 new cases on Friday. That number's way down. And 586 COVID patients in the hospital. That number's way down as well. I tell you every single Monday, be ready for it. It's going to be a big number when they post it up because it's over the course of the full weekend as far as new cases are concerned and deaths are concerned. But keep an eye on that hospitalization number as it continues to dwindle. It means good news for the pandemic. All right. We're going to have to get out of here. Oh, you know what? Ooh, almost forgot. Talk 107.3 FM and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help make 2022 as easy on you as possible by, how about picking up your car payments for a year, an entire year? And if you don't win that one, we've got other great prizes as well. How about 6 months of free car washes from Benny's Car Wash? What do you need to do to enter? This is an easy one. Visit talk1073.com, click on our free car payments for your sweepstakes, and boom, you're registered. Presented, of course, by Citizens Bank and Trust. All right, that's going to do it for us. Hey, I'm off for Mardi Gras Day tomorrow. Pamela Hayes. Might remember her as Pam Matessa. She's going to fill in for me. She will have a full slate for you and a great show planned, I have no doubt. I'll be back at it on Wednesday for Ash Wednesday. Start off your Lenten season right here. Sacrifice your mornings. How about that? On Talk 107.3. We'll see you later. Happy Mardi Gras. All right, YouTube, I got to get upstairs and then right back downstairs. So I will see y'all on Wednesday. Have a fantastic and safe Mardi Gras. We'll see you then. I'll be right back.